What up, what up, what up, YouTube? It's your girl, DeeDee. Welcome back to another live stream. I hope you guys are doing well. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday. Put a 1 in the chat before I start talking. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me perfectly fine. 1 in the chat if the audio is good. If y'all can hear me clearly, go ahead, put a 1 in the chat for me to make sure that the audio is good. So make sure let's do that first before I start talking, because girl, child, man, I will be talking and y'all cannot hear a word I'm saying. So 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me good? Good. Whew, child. So what's going on? I hope y'all are doing well. Thank y'all so much for being here. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody watching, everybody who supports the channel. I appreciate you guys. Make sure as you come into the building, you will go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the like button. That definitely helps the channel out, you guys. So go ahead, hit the like button. Hit the like button if you haven't already. All right. So make sure you are doing that. Also, continue to support the channel. Those of you who are familiar with the channel and support the channel, continue to watch the videos posted on the channel, share and like them, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell to be notified when I upload new content. So make sure you guys are doing that as well. So you see the title. So the title, I'm going to be kind of reacting to this whole trophy wife interview that was done on Hardly Initiated. Shout out to Hardly Initiated. Make sure you guys go over and support their channel and subscribe to them if you haven't already. I posted the entire link to the original content in the description box, so make sure you go over and support them if you haven't already. They do some great work over there. So I want to react to this. I'm kind of late to the party, but better late than never, okay? So I want to go ahead and kind of react to this because I did an initial reaction to her on this channel, and I wanted to kind of like follow up on it and get y'all opinion on this interview, because there was a lot of mixed feelings about her interview and what she was saying, and I definitely have my 2 cents. So I have my 2 cents of what I think about it, and I want you guys to chime in as well. I want to get your thoughts on what you think of her story. There are a lot of people who think that, you know, she's not being truthful. There are a lot of people who don't buy her story. Also, someone did mention, and I also actually saw a bit of another video of the niece. She's 2 videos that I'm aware of that her husband's niece posted saying that this lady is crazy, allegedly, and that this woman is lying, allegedly. And, you know, there was CPS, you know, CPS was called on her. There's some issues with her and her children, allegedly, and all kinds of other things that point to the woman herself and not necessarily the husband. But, you know, I'm gonna stop talking. We gonna hop right into it. Definitely chime in as you guys come into the building. Hit the like button. Shout out to you. What's going on, Mr. Walker? Thank you so much for the super chat. Says salute, sister. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here, and thanks for the support. I appreciate you. Yeah, it's just a lot going on with all of this. And while, you know, I don't normally touch stories like this when it involves children and things of that nature, but I also, you know, kind of wanted to speak to it again because the children involved is just a horrible situation. I couldn't imagine, you know what I mean? But as a mother, you know, the mother in me kind of see things a little bit differently if you know, and you know, I had been in a situation like this, the mother in me just screams something else. I would have reacted differently. That's all I'm saying. But we're gonna get into it, and I'll give my more thoughts on it as we get into the video. Chavez Greenyear, thank you so much for the super chat. Says Sally Travis is a willing lamb walking straight into his girl's slaughterhouse. Train wreck on deck. Thank you for the super chat, Chavez. About the Travis situation, I get what you said. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Even though that's not what we talk about today, but I understand what you're saying. I get it. Thank you for the super chat. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the clip. Now, when I pull up the clip, let me know if you guys can hear it. Lord Jesus, hopefully y'all can hear it. Yeah. What's up? What's going on, Successful MD? Shout out to everybody. Lorenzo, Talib, Lorenzo, Coach Fred, Coach Ferg. Oh, Ferg. What's going on, Ferg? Trey Ferg. Samuel Blackman. Shout out to everybody watching, you guys. Just hit the like button as you come into the building. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this, you guys, and then we're going to wrap this up. 1 in the chat if
How
y'all
you
can
feeling right
hear
now,
the clip.
Isis?
If you can hear it, put a 1.
That was a lot watching the video again because
Try to turn it up a little bit.
haven't watched it again since I first uploaded it. So
You haven't watched the video since you uploaded
I
it.
can't because it's like reliving the experience over again.
Yeah. No,
You know how that is when we watching back our old content. Some of it can be hard to watch, so I can only imagine.
I get it. I get it. I'm happy that you had the courage to come up here today and really speak with us and speak with anybody. I know there's currently a pending case, happening.
Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. There's a pending case currently happening, open with the conversation what happened. So obviously we're gonna do our best to get as much information as possible. So again, thank you for being here. We're gonna get into the conversation shortly. Thank you for all the initiates that were patient in the chat. I had to get my girl Isis straight and make sure she was ready for the show here.
Right.
If you're ready, put a "we ready" in the chat. All right, because we are excited to have this conversation here tonight. All right.
Yeah, highly anticipated. I told you before the show, my mom's been keeping up with the story, so she not on YouTube. She's not keeping up with stuff. So
When you said that, it's just unbelievable. It's
Oh, yeah.
unbelievable. I didn't expect it to have this impact at all.
I mean, it's
I'm
impacting
sure.
people of all shapes, sizes, generations, and genders. for
Over
sure.
probably 2.5 million views, and
Yep.
Okay, before we're gonna jump past some of it because this video is like 2 hours and something, and we're gonna kind of skip past some stuff. Chavez, thank you for the super chat. Says, "Oops, wrong subject. I need some more coffee. Apologies." From a fellow Louisiana native. Shout out to you. Thank you. I get it. I understand. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here, though. I appreciate you. It might be a little low, y'all. My bad, but if I turn it up any louder, it's gonna have that ringing effect. I'm gonna have to try to get some headphones or something, cause this is not it. But just bear with me. Hopefully, I think the more the louder they talk, it gets a little louder. Let's see. Yeah, I can't turn it up any more, cause then I'm gonna get that ringing, buzzing sound. It's good. Okay, good. Thank you. All right, so let's get into it. So already, when people were watching this, they were asking why she's talking like that, why she's, people already were not buying her story immediately. But let's get into it. Let me stop talking. Go
in
ahead.
just a few weeks, I don't think anybody would have expected, the video to have that kind of impact. But we're going to go into some of that today here, which I'm very excited about, Isis. The first thing I want to do before is talk about our episode sponsor here, because our episode sponsor, the Fight the Flesh bracelet. I want everybody to rock, especially if you're my initiates. Go ahead, copy a nice gold-plated
Big facts.
Fight the Flesh bracelet. It is going to be, and we give you a special discount live for 10% off.
Yeah.
It's going to be in the description. Another piece of your armor.
Fight the flesh is the mantra, guys, and this is the thing. We need a daily reminder to continue to remind us of all the things that we are.
Was it a single family?
Okay, let me back up.
Homegrown.
Just trying to get to it.
Due to the dynamics of
And this
Hold
is
on.
the thing.
As for those of you who want to get active in the show,
And shout out
Super
to
Chats
them.
is how you do so.
her trying to do everything.
Right? Growing up at home, what did your home look like in your early childhood growing up?
Due to the dynamics of surrounding my birth, which I already talked about, I grew up with a single mom, and my mom did everything possible to provide for me and my little sister. And I think the hard part about being a single mom is that when you're trying to do everything, sometimes it's hard to show up for your children. And I know my mom has always done the best she could, and she's always given us a good life, and she's always protected me. She's always protected me. And I couldn't really ask for more. But I knew that when I had a family, or when I wanted to have a family, that I wanted to be able to be there for my children, whether that looked like working from home or being married. I always wanted to be able to be there for my children, just so that I knew that they were safe. because when I was a child, because my mom was working,
You know, and listen, I don't want to sound insensitive, but it's okay. Okay, she crying already, and she's just talking about her upbringing. Listen, I was raised by a single mother too. There was some crazy, things that happened, as a young girl myself, and being raised in a single mother household. So I understand that. I'm just like, okay, so I guess they're just trying to get some background and some context as to, I guess leading up to the situation at hand. But I will say this real quick, because she's talking so slow sometimes. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm very patient, but I'm impatient too. But so I like to get to the meat and the potatoes of it all. So we're gonna kind of go through this video. I'm not gonna sit here through the whole because it's too much, and then I'll kind of. And some of y'all probably already saw it, but I'll put the full link. So if you want to watch the whole thing, we're going to kind of like skim through this because it's just too long and too slow and it's too daunting. But, a lot of people have been through some horrible childhoods, and they grow up and they become good people and they raise their children and they do things that will keep their children from experiencing the things that they went through. I'm an example of that, and I'm sure many other. It's not a isolated thing. Like this happens to a lot of people. So what happens is I tend to learn that when you've gone through certain things, whether it's whether you've been abused, molested, or whatever, what tends to happen to those people is when they either some people don't want to bring kids into the world, but if they do, they try to do everything opposite of what they were raised with to prevent those types of things from happening from their children. That's what I get from that. And I'm saying that for a reason, because this does kind of tie into what she says later on. It makes you kind of think, well, wait a minute, what was going on in your childhood? And, when you have children, you definitely do things to protect your kids because you don't want them to experience what you've experienced. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of, when it comes to your kids, and abuse and all these types of things, you definitely try to shield your kids from that or do things differently to keep your kids from experiencing what you experience. So that's all I would say with that. And that's part of the reason why I look at it sideways. And I'm going to tell you guys in a minute once we get through it a little bit more. But yeah, Avenge the Ancestors, thank you for the super chat, says, hello, Queen DeeDee. You're looking nice, and room be first. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Avenge the Ancestors. Thank you so much for being here. Q, the old one, says, yeah, tell her to poop or get off the toilet. Thank you for the super chat. Y'all crazy, eh? Oh my God. But let's continue, y'all. Child.
Take your time.
it left the door open. A neighbor's wife was supposed to be watching me after school, and her husband was taking advantage. And I was only 8 years old at this time.
Wow.
And I didn't tell my mother for a while because it was just confusing, and I was scared, and I thought I would get in trouble. Oh my goodness.
Take your time.
So just to summarize that, I want to make sure I understand. Was it a single family home growing up? Your
Yes.
mom, she was
She got a
obviously
role
hardworking
that she
woman that had
Yes,
to provide for the
very
family.
much so.
all by
And in
herself.
school, always has a PhD, all the above. All the above. My mom has really strived. Every woman in my family, even my grandmother, it started with her. I mean, she owns a business, a very successful woman. There's multiple entrepreneurs in my family, so we've always just been, just go get it, make it happen. And I've always been that way. Before meeting my husband, I always worked, provided for my children. I never got child support for my two boys. I took care of them. I luckily was able to secure a job with a family business, so I was able to work from home. But it's what I had prayed for when I was pregnant with my second son, because his father got incarcerated when I was 6 months pregnant. And I didn't know what I was going to do because it was just going to be me.
And once again, and I'm not, listen, I understand, coming from a single parent household and all of the stuff that comes with that. I get that. And I'm not, I'm very empathetic and to that type of thing. But at the same time, we're going to talk about accountability. We are. But I will be lying to y'all if I said this wasn't a little cringy. You know what I mean? I can talk about things from my past as well, and I could clearly talk about it here. Yeah, certain things might get you choked up, but you know, as you grow and as you get older and you get far past, you build up a little bit of strength, and you can talk about it. You know, the older you get and the stronger you get, the more healed you are. And this is why I think partly this is probably not a good thing for her to be doing, talking about this on social media, as she's, you know, whether people believe her story or believe her antics, this is still not the place to be talking about these situations, especially as it relates to her children. You know, talking about what's going on with them and all of that. This is why people are side-eyeing her, because she's out here on social media using this alleged tragic story to garner some type of sympathy for financial gain. That is allegedly what people are saying she's doing. And it's hard for you not to believe that is what's happening because of the state of the situation. This is what she's alleging from her husband is heinous. This is not something that you take lightly. And you know, while as a mother, I'm like, hold up. If this was something that happened to my babies, even if it was at the hands of my husband, I would not be on social media trying to get sympathy from people. Either you're gonna see me on social media with some lawyers talking about how we gonna, you know, take him down, or you're gonna see me on the news in handcuffs after I've did what I needed to do. I'm just saying, to protect my children. You know what I mean? This is where the mother in me starts to think, wait a minute, this is, I mean, come on, like this is not something to play with. And if these allegations are true, because we're going to speak to that too, where a lot of people are saying this isn't true. And also the niece, as somebody mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about that. I saw a video. I didn't want to post the content, but there's video of his niece coming out and saying that this lady is batshit crazy, basically, and that this is not the truth. And she's the one who's in fact crazy, but allegedly we gonna get into that. But it's just one of those things, you know, where you like something is not adding up, and none of us really have all of the answers, but something is not adding up. Come on now, if you're a mother, a father, you do everything in your power to protect your children. And on top of that, especially if this has happened to you and it's happening, you know, to people in your family, you are more, I don't know, but usually you're more protective of your babies when it's something that's happening. You don't trust your kids around anybody. You don't leave your kid. You don't do, because I know we don't do sleepovers. Well, we didn't. My kids, most of my children are grown now, and I have two small ones. But we don't do no sleepovers. We don't do no, oh, you going over here? No, because there are people in your family, you know, you can't trust. You know, there's crazy people all around. So when something like that has happened to you, you're overprotective of your kids because you don't want that to happen to them. So there are certain things that you don't allow to protect your kids from possible predators. But we're gonna listen to some more, and then I'm gonna continue with that. But let's continue.
And he didn't get out until my son was about 9 months old. But I had to figure it out. And, you know, thank you to my aunt and uncle for giving me that opportunity to be able to be home with my children and provide for them. And we had a nice apartment, and, you know, we had all the good things. I had my own car. I had all my own stuff. But I remember it was one Christmas when it was just us. And I said, you know what? I would like to be married. And I had never said that before. I never wanted to be married just because, you know, I haven't really seen a lot of successful marriages in my life. So when, I'm sorry, I'm talking too far away. But when I had that Christmas, it dawned on me that, you know, maybe I should really like put myself out there and try to find a good man for these kids. And, you know, I had 2 boys, and I feel like they needed a good fatherly example because they didn't have it.
Now, we definitely want to dig into that as well. And I want to go back because I don't want to just breeze past this incident that happened at 8 years old.
Yeah.
Now, you get assaulted by a neighbor's
Yes.
husband.
Yes.
And where's your father at this point? He's just
My biological father is much older than my mother. He took advantage of her when she was a young girl in high school. I think I remember my mom saying she was in labor trying to take her SATs.
Wow.
And she was the pregnant girl at in high school, and it's unfortunate that he preyed on her like that, but there's so many men like this out there, and people just don't talk about it.
And so the situation.
So, and with all due respect or whatever, so her mom was preyed upon in high school because she was a teen mother. And this, see, okay, I mean, look, I'm not trying to be funny, but okay, so your mother told you that? So your mom was a teen mother. And so she was no accountability there. She wasn't running out, running around trying to get with an older dude and having sex, and it's all the guy's fault, right? And then she had you, so no accountability on that part. And her mama was a teen mother. She had 2 children. I don't know if they're for the same guy or if there was 2 different fathers. So she was young, having children too. So I guess she was preyed upon by the children's the 2 first kids' fathers. You know what I mean? You see what I mean? It's like a sympathy train. It's like woe is me, feel sorry for me, feel sorry for my mom, feel sorry for us. Let's not, go any deeper. And I think a lot of times in these interviews, the deeper questions aren't asked. I'm just saying, shout out to Hardly Initiated. They do some great work. I'm not a shot at, I'm not coming at anybody. I'm just speaking. But sometimes I think people try to be empathetic, and I understand that because you don't want to come off as, a asshole. But sometimes the hard questions need to be asked because she's bringing all this up. They didn't ask her none of this. She's basically bringing up her childhood and all that, I guess, to equate that to kind of put them together as to what's happening now. And then all I can think of is, okay, it's a pattern. The mother chose wrong. The mother was out here, doing what she wants to do had her young, and then she repeated the cycle. It sounds like what typically happens. To me, this story is not unique. It's not, we've heard this story 1,000 times. This is not a unique situation. This has happened to a lot of people, but in honesty, I mean, in my opinion, it just seems like she's trying to make it seem more salacious than it is, and trying to get for sympathy points to get people on her side to feel sorry for her. And it shouldn't, and it's more about the kids, not her, because it's almost like it's a mind game or a trick. Like you're changing it and making it seem like, she's the victim when it's the kids are the victims in all of this, right? The children are the ones who this should be focused on, not her. The children are the victims in this. The children are the ones who have suffered the most, according to her. So why is it so focused on her? And this is why I don't think it should be on social media. I think she should go try to get healed and get those kids and make sure those kids are in a good place and try to focus on the well-being of her children. Sitting out here talking about this, trying to get sympathy points, I think is a big mistake. And I just don't think that it's healthy for the kids, which makes most people question, is this for real? Is this real? Or are you trying to get money out of it? Because and let me tell you something, as we go through this, the end part just baffled me. The end part baffled me when she started talking about the GoFundMe and all that, baby. I was just like, I know you lying. But it's interesting. Successful MD, thank you for the super chat, says we know why these hosts are bringing her on too. Why, Successful MD? Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Let's continue.
Situation is your mother coming from an abusive relationship. Now she has you're 8 years old. You go through this traumatic experience with the spouse of a neighbor.
Yeah.
And let's fast forward a bit, because if I'm not mistaken, you had your first child at 17.
Yes.
So before having this child, what did sex look like to you at this point? Like when was your first sexual experience kind of getting active?
Probably when I was about 13. I lost my virginity to a 17-year-old boy in high school. And yeah, I mean, I was always told just don't have sex growing up. I don't know if that's what a lot of people in our community say.
They hear that a lot, I'm
just
sure.
don't do it. It's not really openly discussed about why and what can happen, and even personal experiences that may sway a young girl away from making certain decisions. But you know, I have learned, and I really wanted to be able to speak to young moms when I created my platform, because if I would have done it over again, granted I love my children, but if I can speak to a young woman and say, like, don't have kids before marriage if you can help it, you know, it's going to be a little bit easier. You know, just trying to be real and open and honest. I was a single mom, and this is what happened, and I found what I thought was a good husband, seemed like a good husband, but turned out to be just a monster.
I want to ask this.
Now, before we get into that, so she said she married a man who seemed to be a good man, but if you remember in, you know, when she did her video, which I did cover, I might try to put the link to that one in this video if you guys haven't checked that one out already. She you know, she didn't vet this guy properly at all. She, you know, was already a single mother. She had 2 kids before she met him. The way she met him, which which they'll talk about a little bit, she kind of was seeing one guy that she was with, and she said he didn't seem to like her kids or get along with her kids. So she was looking to get out of that relationship. Then she met the guy who ended up being her husband, and you know, she started talking to him, and you know, he seemed like a nice guy. He seemed like he had money or whatever. And then so she, you know, was like, okay, well, he's willing to be with her or whatever. And then they end up together. It was over a short period of time, which she'll tell you. So she did not vet the guy. She ended up moving with the new guy, like went from one man to the next. And, you know, for a person who has, you know, been exposed to, being, you know, molested or whatever, or, you know, at a young age, and you have kids, your number one thought is you don't want to expose your children to too many strangers. You don't want to introduce your kids to people that you don't know or trust. So to be able to just jump like that and have your kids around these potential strangers is a red flag. That's a red flag in my opinion. And in my opinion, is a red flag. And so she wasn't thinking about that. She was young, but still, you know, if you're going to bring up the points of her, you know, being molested at a young age, then there's stuff that goes with that. You know what I mean? So then when, I don't know, it's just sketchy to me. It's sketchy to me in the way she was moving. Okay, say you were young, but I mean, being young and you already have 2 kids, you have to be responsible. You know, being young goes out the window when you bring children into the equation. That means you have to be an adult. You have to be responsible. You have to make sure you take care of your kids in every way, not just financially, not just, you have to make sure that they're protected. So, you know, this is where accountability on her part has to come in. This is where the sympathy goes out the window, because now you as a mother, you have to be responsible for your kids and the protection of the kids. And where are the fathers? One father was incarcerated for a while. That means, you know, you were out here just, you know, playing around, sleeping with these guys. These weren't good men. And all of a sudden you were ready for a provider man to take care of you and your kids because the fathers were nowhere in their lives. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on, but let's continue.
Is because do you feel like that experience that happened at 8, obviously you had your first sexual experience at 13, you know, intentionally,
Yeah.
It sounds like, did that experience at 8 years old, do you feel like that influenced that experience at 13? Did it hypersexualize you in a way?
I'm sure it's all connected. I'm sure it's all connected because I believe that women who are basically taught from a young age that their value is in what's between their legs start to internalize that, and it's unfortunate.
And I can imagine a ton of confusion going on at that time. And now you're 17. and you involved with a young man. And if I'm not mistaken, you stated this before, that you intentionally had a child.
Yeah.
So when you say at 17 you intentionally decided to move forward with bearing a child, what exactly does that mean, and what was your mindset?
We as a couple, we kind of had this whirlwind romance. I actually met him here in Atlanta. So, I'm sorry, on a train coming from Alexandria to Atlanta, and everything clicked, and he said, "Will you give me a son?" And I said yes.
Wow.
And I was pregnant almost immediately, and I love my son.
How long did you did you guys have a relationship at that point?
Oh my gosh, it was probably like a few weeks. It wasn't long. It wasn't long at all. And I still consider him a friend to this day. Like,
wow.
He's still a good friend.
And how old was he?
He was a few years older than me.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she met a guy who she was dating a few weeks or whatever, and then he said, "Give me a son," and she just, boop, "I'm gonna give you a baby." That shows you there was some trauma going on with this woman from years ago. Like, she was not stable, in my opinion, allegedly, from young. And where was the guidance? The mother wasn't teaching you anything. The father was nowhere around. So there was some trauma and some stuff going on with her a long time ago. So that says a lot about her mental state there. Successful MD says, "I wouldn't have a live with her on my channel." Thank you, Successful MD, for the super chat. I appreciate you. Why not? I think so. It's important. These types of things you have to point out. This goes in line with a lot of the other women who, and I'm not saying, look, allegedly, a lot of the other women who come out and say things and want an automatic response in their favor. You know what I mean? Women who want you to automatically just believe them no matter what they say without even hearing the other side or getting evidence and things of that nature. This speaks volumes to a lot of women who come out and just want, the sisterhood to just jump on their side without all of the information. Give them money, GoFundMe's, do whatever they want so that they can get their way. And that's part of why this type of thing just continuously happen, because nobody says anything, nobody calls it out, nobody addresses it. And this is where a lot of women have been able to do whatever it is they wanted to do, whether it's a lie or not, and get away with it because nobody called it out. Everybody just sit there and let it happen. And then we're to a point now where this is what a lot of women are used to. And they're shocked when they don't get the response that they want. They are shocked when it's the opposite. You know what I'm saying? So, things are changing, but part of the problem why so many women are entitled is because they've been allowed to say, do, and act however they want to, and lie and do whatever they want to, and they're just believed, and nobody questions it, nobody says anything, and they get away with it. And once you get used to getting away with stuff, you continuously do it. It doesn't make you do better. It continues to allow you to keep doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? This is why women are so comfortable, and not necessarily speaking to just this case, but other cases where women feel like they can do whatever they want, lie, whether it's a lie, whether it's what it is, and nobody ever says anything. It's just whatever, believe all women, and they just go on and with that, and then it becomes their thing, and they get used to it. And other people, the men and the children and other people involved are the ones who actually have to suffer because they have to live with this too. And nobody really gives a damn. So I think this is when we see these kind of things, this is where I think social media plays a part in it, maybe in a sense to kind of put this stuff on display and show it, so that something can start to change, so that there can be something that happens differently from what's been happening. That's how I look at it. But let's continue, y'all.
And that was your first child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And just to confirm, before you met your now husband, how many children did you have?
2.
Okay. So when did you have your second child?
I had my second child with someone I knew from high school. I had known him. He went to a different high school from me, but I forget how we met. I think at the library we met. And my mom liked him. He was nice. And I actually ended up moving back home after things didn't work out with my oldest son's father. And I actually saw him when we were working somewhere together. I had gotten a new job and he happened to be working there too. And it was just like, oh my gosh, hey, and, we started a relationship and my son came about and yeah.
So at this point, I'm assuming 1920, you got 2 children. And from my understanding, your sister now,
Well, I would say, no, I was like 21 when I got pregnant, or around the time. I
Gotcha.
remember when I turned 21, I think I was pregnant. I couldn't even drink on my 21st
Wow.
birthday. So I was pregnant with my second son.
And what is your mother at this point communicating to you about men?
My mother has always told me that you need to be very careful about men in general, and I don't want to paint every man in a bad light, but there can be a predatory side that some men do not control and do not want to control, and that's the dangerous part.
And where was your father at this point in time in your life?
Nowhere around. I mean, he, I believe, threatened my mother that if she tried to even get child support from her, that he would end her and her family members.
Wow.
So he was nowhere. Nowhere.
Okay, so
Yeah, something ain't right. I don't think she's telling the full story because she's trying to get sympathy points. Something with this is sketchy with her father and the mother. They probably weren't really in relationships. Allegedly, I'm saying that's just from what I'm hearing. Sounds like it wasn't a stable relationship with the mother and her father. She was young and just got pregnant. And then same here. She was young, got pregnant by 2 different guys. They were young. There was no real relationship established. They were out in these streets, from what I'm gathering, allegedly. That's what it seems like. There was no real committed relationships there. They were just out there doing whatever and getting pregnant. Young and, like they say, young and dumb and just doing whatever. And she's saying it in a way to make it sound, like, oh, no, they were out there. I'm just saying, from what I'm gathering. And she was a teen mother. And, and she's saying it's no different from other women who are out here dipping in and doing it, who didn't have any guidance, didn't have a father figure around to teach them how to do things. And also the mother allegedly was not really, capable of teaching her the right ways to go as well. So she was just out here on a limb, just doing whatever and getting pregnant, and became a single mother. And then once that was difficult, she looked like she allegedly started looking for somebody to help her. That's just what it seems like to me. She was finally looking for a man who will be able to come in and take care of her and those 2 kids because she was struggling doing it by herself because she had no support from the fathers, no support from nobody around her, seems like. So she needed some help. That's what I'm saying. Successful MD says, not you, DeeDee. Okay, gotcha. Many of these are done during active investigations. Okay, I see what you're saying. You are doing for accountability. Others are doing for algorithms and ratings. Okay, I see what you mean. I get what you're saying, Successful MD. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you. Let's continue, y'all.
you now at the point, you got 2 young boys, and are you at this point, after your second pregnancy, are you considering dating? Are you having conversations? Kind of what direction you want to take your life? What's happening?
After things didn't work out with my second son's father, and it was that Christmas that I told you where I was like, I really need to create a family for my children. Gotcha. And, just do things the right way. And I knew I wanted more children. I love my babies. I think I'll have another one in 10 years maybe. But right now, that's just not on my mind at all. I have 5 beautiful babies, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of them, and they're my reason and my purpose.
Oh, Lord.
But I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, you fine. I just wanted to get an idea of what kind of inspired you to get back into the dating market, which it sounds like you wanting to start a family.
It was that.
Start fresh.
It was that. Just wanting to find a good man that I could respect because of the type of women that were in my family, very high achievers, and just really a lot. Everyone in my family has been a very high achiever, that I had a certain expectation of what a husband should look like. And
How, Sway? How every, how you had everybody in your family are high achievers, and you had a certain expectation of what you thought a husband would look like when you didn't even think about getting married at first. Where were those high expectations before when you had the first child? Why wasn't the expectation marriage before you had a baby when she said they purposely had a baby? Oh, let's just have a baby. When you didn't think of marriage. So those guys weren't marriage material. Where were the high expectations before you had the children? It doesn't add up. It does not add up. It does not. Oh, it's so high. People in your family and the expectations are so high, but you never thought about getting married or requiring marriage before you had a baby. 2 babies by 2 different people. It doesn't make sense, y'all. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. I'm just saying it's like she's trying to tell the story and clean it up at the same time. Tell it, but people who are listening and have eyes to see, we see there's some holes in it. You know what I mean? And look, tell your story, but at least I don't know. I always say honesty is the best policy, or just don't tell it at all. It doesn't sound good. And as much as she's talking like, and I want you and all of that, she wants us to feel sorry, but it just doesn't add up. Something doesn't add up. It really doesn't, And once again, it's supposed to be about the kids. I'm more concerned about the kids. How are these children doing? Because those are the ones who are the victims, right? The alleged victims. So what is, high expectations and entrepreneurs, and what that got to do with the price of tea in China? I'm just saying. Let's continue.
also, finding certain content. I don't know if I should even talk about any of that.
Well,
but
I think you
Content.
should, because all of that influences how you think and particularly how you go about dating.
Okay.
And right now it is still very much so a gender war. Both men and women are confused about how to date and how to make decisions.
Yeah.
And I think everything and anything that influenced you at that time is important to share.
Well, I had shared this before, that I stumbled across a very important content creator that I think everyone knows as the hypergamous queen. Her videos are shared, sprinkle videos everywhere.
I just learned about this. I didn't know about it.
So
Sprinkle,
a lot of people are new to this, but I was true to it because I was following before there was 100,000 subscribers, like me and my sisters, and
That's
Yeah.
Shira 7.
Shira 7, yes.
And I've
Girl.
checked out her page, thousands and thousands of views, and
For
she's
sure.
been doing it for a very long time.
For sure.
Yes. So I was
And the sprinkle lady is not claiming her. That lady is not claiming her. She is not claiming her. But it just shows you also why she went about this the way she did, and why the marriage was so quick to this man that she barely knew, exposing her 2 children to a practical stranger. That points to why she moved the way she did, without really vetting this guy, really figuring out, a lot of mistakes were made, in my opinion, but there's no accountability on her part from what I gathered. And so, look, once again, we're all human. We all make some mistakes and whatever, but you got to learn from them, and you got to be accountable, and one thing I've learned with these types of situations, when you come out trying to be the victim, that means you really didn't learn. You don't want to be accountable. You could come out and tell your story and be accountable, and not, try to portray yourself as the victim. Even if, things did happen to you, you learn from it, because when you realize your part in it and how you've put yourself in a lot of these positions, then you could grasp how you can make a difference and not wanting people to just feel sorry for you just because listen, like I said, a lot of people have gone through these types of things. This is not a special case. I'm just saying it's not. And a lot of people could come out and play like victims if they wanted to. but they choose not to because they're moving on with their lives. You don't want to be a perpetual victim. You want to move on and get your life together for real. You can't be a victim and get your life together. You know, it's always because when you're playing victim, you want something. You want people you want something from people. When people are trying to live their lives and go on and thrive and grow, they don't want to sit down and just be pitied all the time. It's not a good place to be. I'm just saying. Let's continue.
Telling every woman that I met in person, like, you know, there's a content creator that makes really good content just about, really, it seemed like how women could take their power back is how it felt. That's how it felt at the time.
Yeah. So that when you went from a place of not wanting marriage at all. Mm-hmm. And then you start.
Now, wait, I want to address this. Take your power back. Who took your power from you? That's another thing. You hear a lot of women say, "Oh, I'm taking my power." Who took your power from you as an adult? Like who stopped you from doing something? Now, if somebody grapes you, they're taking something from you. Which she said she was taken advantage of when she was 8, and I totally that is something that I don't think anybody should have to go through. And that there is, I don't condone that anybody, that is not something that I support. I think that is horrible. Nobody should have to go through that. But other than that, as you got older, your choices were your choices at that point. As an adult, as a young adult, she made choices on her own. So what did somebody take from you at that point? What did they take? What power are you taking? What power did you have in the first place that was taken away that you needed to take back? Once again, I think this is something a lot of women say, but when you literally ask them, okay, who took the power? What power did you have and who took it away from you? That would have been a question that I would have asked. Let's continue.
Started to want marriage. Was she a part of the reason?
I believe that, you know what? Probably. And I hate to say that, but probably it just seemed more secure for a family. It just seemed right. It just seemed more stable, like we would be on a solid foundation. And I prayed to God about it because, you can subscribe to certain things that people talk about, but you don't have to subscribe to everything that they talk about. And I've always had a relationship with God, and Jesus is the one true Lord. And I prayed about it and asked God to send me the right man. It wasn't just about what he had. It was never about what he had. Because if it was about that, I had a lot of other options with more. And it was really about how he treated my children. Because he seemed to love my boys. And he said, "Oh, those are my boys. You remind me of my mom. She was a single mom with 2 boys. And I would just love to help you and be there for you and be the man you guys need."
But again, she barely knew the man. They was together a week or so. How do you know he loves your boys and they hadn't really spent much time with him? How do you know that is the case? Was it a delusional mindset, or she was listening to the sprinkle lady and there had to be something about this man to make her jump so quickly because she didn't know him? How do you know somebody loved your kids and you barely know them yourself? Was she gullible or just, not knowing or just trusting? You barely knew the man. It's because he said, "Oh, your boys are so cute and it reminds me of my mom. Oh, come on, let's get married." Like, come on. That's where I say, that's where she, I don't know if she said this, but the accountability is, you know what? I did not know what I was doing. I did not know this dude. I just wanted I wanted somebody to, to help me raise my boys. And I saw somebody who looked like they had the potential or they had the money or the resource to do it. So I jumped with him. Because what else would you know about him? And to know if he was a good dude, if he was really loved you and the kids in that short period of time. Wow. And I say men who want to marry you, it doesn't take them forever to know, but goddamn, not 2 weeks. Not that quickly. You got to get to know them somewhat to know what they're about. And you as the mother of your kids, protecting your kids, you have to be mindful of these kind of things. You know what I'm saying? So How? I mean, I don't know. I wonder if maybe she realizes she moved too quickly. It seems like she's moved too quickly in all of her situations. You know, one guy, she got pregnant with the first guy. Next guy, come on, let's have a baby, let's do it. And and none of it worked out. So I don't know what at what point. This is why I say it's not about making bad decisions. It's about learning from them. We've made bad decisions at some point in our lives, some way, shape, or form, right? None of us are perfect. So you're supposed to learn from them, though. That's the whole key. The gag is to learn from especially when you have children, you can't make poor decisions like this because it's going to detrimentally affect your kids. It's not like it's just, but when you have kids involved, you got to be a little bit wiser. You got to move a little bit differently. Successful MD says you can't reverse the body counts. Crazy women. Child, they want to erase it. They will erase it. They just disappear whenever they want them to, Successful MD. They want to. Thank you, Successful MD. Yeah, they wanna erase them. But you can't. They would love to. Let's continue.
Oh my gosh.
So you know what? I wanna, before we actually get deep into, this situation that took place with your husband, I think it's important to talk about the impact. I'm actually happy you shared that because we had that we had a debate just the other night where that was a part of the conversation because who you watch and learn from, that's discipleship. That's mentorship.
Oh my goodness.
That's who you are, in submission to.
Yes.
Under their leadership.
You know what? That's so true.
The thing about it is now when you're discipling under somebody to make the most important decision in your life, this is how I choose my partner. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest decision we make. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of influence on our future and the future of our children. What do you think was the biggest takeaway from that content creator in particular that impacted you? What was the biggest takeaway, or what empowered you from her in particular that made you feel that safety and security? Like, what was it, a particular lesson or principle that was given to you?
I think that a lot of times, like I stated before, that women are taught that their value is in what's between their legs. And she was the first person that said that it was true. And you don't have to give it away to just anybody. A man should be worth your time. He should be, taking you out. He should be investing in you. He should be making your life easier if he cares about you. And that's what I took away from it.
I think that makes sense.
I want to ask you this because...
See, the thing about it is, and this is why this story is so important, because that sprinkle lady, to me, she gives the most horrible advice ever, in my opinion. I'm sorry. I do not agree with what she tells young women because I think it's dangerous and it doesn't benefit you in having meaningful relationships for real and marriages with good men and good women being together. So I don't approve anything that she says. Being a wife, being a mother, I just think that this is why you have to be the mentor for your kids. As parents, you have to be the example for your children. You have to be the examples for your children. Let me say that again. You have to be the examples for your children. Your children should look at you and at least respect what you have to say. Of course, as adults, they're going to make their own decisions, but they should have their core values from you, their mothers and their fathers. They should have their core values from you. They should trust and have respect for the things that you've taught them. That way, at least they'll have something to stand. They'll have that foundation to stand on. That they don't go out and just listen to anybody on social media or anybody telling them something that they just run and jump and eat it up, and then you end up in a situation like this. Now, we don't really know if these allegations against her husband, because they're still legally married, if I'm not mistaken. We don't know if these allegations are true or not. But if they are, just say if they are, then you have to take accountability for your actions, because your initial the initial thought process or how she moved in a situation was not conducive to what would be a healthy relationship. First off, you didn't vet this guy long enough, and you had kids already. You put your kids in his position. If this is something that really happened, you are the one who's responsible for this situation happening, because you didn't vet this guy. You didn't take time to get to know his character. You didn't take time to get to know his background. You didn't take time to get to know if this would be somebody that would be the right person for you and your kids. You just jumped into it because of what somebody else said who you respected. You listened to that lady saying this and that or whatever. She clearly saying that was her influence. Oh, that a man is supposed to do all of these things for you and show up and do this. And to me, that is not the most important thing. The most important thing is knowing who he is as a person. What is his character like? Is he trustworthy? Is he somebody that has done harmful things in the past? What is he concerned about? What is he trying to do? Why is he so eager to get with you if that's the case? You know what I'm saying? This is why I think that type of rhetoric is dangerous, because it's not focused on the person and their character and who they are. It's focused on what he can do for you. A psychopath, a goddamn axe murderer could take you to a great restaurant. So you mean you want to put yourself in the hands of a person because he looks good? He's wearing an expensive suit or expensive clothing. He drives a expensive car. He looks like he has a lot of money. Oh, he's interested in you. Oh, he's going to take you to the place that he knows you want to go. He's going to cater to all the things that you're looking for, and then could turn around and chop you up into 1,000 little bitty pieces. Then what? This is why that is dangerous. It is not teaching women how to look out for the right types of guys. All it is making you superficial and looking for a man who can provide superficial things, and his real past and who he really is, you have no clue about, nor are you concerned about it, nor are you looking for the red flags in what he's doing, because you're so blinded by him taking you to this place, showing you the time that you think he should, buying you the things that you think he should, showing up in that materialistic way to have y'all in a goddamn trick bag. You'll find yourself in a world of trouble looking out for the wrong damn things. It is not good advice whatsoever. It is setting women up for failure, because y'all are looking for the wrong ish. It's so mind-boggling to me, and it's so sad that a lot of young women are out here following this and not realizing that is not the right way to go. That you're looking for something superficial. You're not thinking about all of the other things that will really matter. If there was some crazies out here who are listening to that lady, that sprinkle lady too, they could listen to her, start doing as men, providing what she's saying a man should provide to these women, and have these women in a world of trouble. You will find yourself in a very bad situation going out here following this type of information. This is crazy. This is why I say you should not be out here looking for a man to take care of you, because when you do, you move a certain way. You only focus on finances and how he can do this and do that, and you don't know who the hell you're dealing with. You talk about, these men are crazy. Yeah, there are some crazy men out here. There are some crazy ones out here. And you're subjecting yourself to him because he knows exactly what y'all looking for. You're looking for a provider. You're looking for somebody to do this. All you got to do is take it to an expensive restaurant and do exactly what the sprinkle lady is saying, and you find yourself in a trick. I mean, I'm telling you, it's just horrible. And this is one example. I don't know, once again, the whole situation of what's going on with her husband is suspect. If it is the truth, then you have to take accountability. You put yourself in harm's way looking for somebody to take care of you. That's just what it is. Let's continue.
Right now, hindsight, with where you are today, do you feel like that was the healthiest content to digest, or do you have any regrets in really watching that content to help guide your decision making?
So funny thing about me is I don't have regrets. I believe that God is working in perfect order, in perfect timing, and there's nothing that's happens that he has not approved or seen. And
So, if that's the case, so did God approve what allegedly happened to your kids? Huh? You don't have any regrets. So what happens, and it's funny, this, I don't know, this give me flashbacks. And this is the type of rhetoric that I've heard, and this is why I'm not that big on the church, because this is the kind of rhetoric I've grew up kind of hearing, and it just rubs me the wrong way, because I think everybody always want to use God after the fact. Where was God in the beginning? Where was God? Well, why wasn't God directing you and guiding you in the beginning to make better decisions? Why God always shows up after the train wreck? This is the part I don't like, and I don't subscribe to, because I think it's a bunch of bullshit. A lot of people always want God is directing you and God is doing so much in your life. Where was God why didn't God help you with all the other poor decision making skills or lack thereof? Why is God so prevalent now? Once everything is falling apart, everything is ordained. And this is kind of stuff, like I said, I've heard my mother say this, and these people are train wrecks. I hate to say it, but it's true. God is the author of everything, but when things don't go your way, you know what I'm saying? It's just a game that people play. And I hate that people use God in this, because to me, God is nowhere in it. It's just God when you want something. You know what I mean? But when you want to do what you want to do, that's reckless and out of the order of God. Oh, where is God? Oh, God told you to do that. God told you to be promiscuous. God told you to go and have two different children, to have all these children with different men. God told you to do this. What did God tell you to do that? Because that's what he wants you to do when he strictly says this is what you shouldn't be doing. He wrote there's a whole book that gives you instructions, but that goes out the window when people want to do what they want. But all of a sudden now, God is in your steps and he's ordering all of this. Okay, so what's with the sympathy then? If this is what God wanted, why don't you just take that, go with what God is saying, and trust that, and leave everybody else out of it? That's what I'm just saying. I don't like that. And like I said, it's a ooh, and this is the kind of stuff I've heard, and it's just never set right with me. God caused you to be an alcoholic. God wanted you to be a hoe. God wanted you to do this. God wants you to do this. This is what people say. God directed your steps and ordered you to go and open your legs and sleep with all these different men. God said it's okay to have a sleep with 1,000 men. God made you do it. God made you do it. I just think it's... And it's one of those subjects and topics that I just, ooh, Lord, this is what, like I said, I've heard it. It is always the people who made the worst decisions always using God to back them up. It's always the ones who've done the most reckless things you could think of. Always now you want to God I listened to everything God said. When? Since when? Last year? When you decide to go to Christ because you had nowhere else to turn, when you've had all the children by all the different men, all the Pookies and Ray Rays, and you've busted open for years, and now you by yourself and you owe and you don't have nothing else, so all you got is to turn to God now. This is the stuff that I've seen. Now God is so great and he's so good. Why did it take you so long to realize that? And why, after you've done everything you could think of, now God is, I just only listen to God. Well, I mean, a little too late, right? You ain't got no other choice now. Let's continue.
And unfortunately, our family, not just our family, but our family in public especially my daughters, have had to be sacrificial lambs in the result of what has happened. And yeah.
So now let's talk to me about meeting your husband now, because I can imagine after you watch this
sacrificial lamb,
it's probably preparing you for the suitors that come into your life, how to vet them, how to manage them. Was he one of the early suitors?
Yes.
Was he the first one, or were there a few guys before him?
He was one of the first few, and he pursued me heavily, which I liked. I think that women like a man that pursues and says that, I want you. And
you initially met him online?
Yes, online. I'm sorry. We met online. I don't want to throw the website out there, but if people have been
Girl, we don't care about the
watching, then they
website.
know. I don't want to make the website a bad place. That's not what it's about. But we did meet online. Yes.
I get it. And you meet online. You set up a date.
Yeah.
Okay. And first date goes well.
The first date went amazing. He felt like my husband.
What about the experience with him made you feel so comfortable?
I don't know. I don't know
How
what
you
it
felt,
was.
girl?
I just felt safe. I felt like he was my husband. I can't describe it. And he, even on our first date, he said, "So what do you think about if we got married in 2 months?" And I said, "I don't know, maybe."
And that wasn't a red flag. Girl, I don't know. That wasn't a red flag to you? It wasn't a red flag? Really, you just met this man. Just went on the first date. It's like, oh, how would you like it if we got married in 2 months? And that wasn't a red flag to you? Cha.
And he spit out his water because he started choking like he couldn't believe I said, "Oh, maybe."
Wow.
But it felt so natural and so right. Yeah.
How old were you at this time, by the way?
I was 23 or
Oh, wow.
24 or something like that.
And what was his age?
45, 43, 45, something like that. I don't know.
So he's around
Oh my
20 or so
God.
years older.
Yes, he's 20 years older.
Got it.
Now, being a young woman at that time, 23, did you have any reservations about his age, or was that a concern at all, or was
it a
that
plus?
just a typical right? Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't get introduced to dating older men until I started watching Share 7. She just basically said, I mean, they have,
They got money.
yeah, exactly. They can be a better man to you. They can
Girl.
provide for you in the way that you like, and your kids, and so I was like, okay. And it was a bit odd at first because I didn't initially jump right into online dating. I just, men would try to talk to me at the grocery store, and normally I just wouldn't even pay attention to older men, but I just started to be a little bit more approachable, I guess, to men of an older age. And I ended up meeting the first older man that I dated. And it was a little bit odd at first because I just wasn't used to dating an older man. But because he treated me well, it became easy. You feel like a princess,
I'm curious to, you said I started doing things to make myself more approachable to older men. Like things like what? What makes you more approachable to an older guy?
Just like smile more, or, you can make a little more eye contact, where normally if you don't go for a certain type, you're probably not even going to turn your head. You know what I'm saying? You're not even going to look in their face. But, I was like, let me keep my options open. I always was attracted to men of color, so I typically stay in that range. But like, let me see about dating.
Well, I mean, she's already said it. She was listening to the sprinkle lady, and that's what she was doing. She was doing what the sprinkle lady told her to do. Smile, bat your eyelashes, do what it is that you need to do to get this man. If he older, he got the money, so go after the one with the money. That's what it is. She basically said that. You follow what that lady said to get get this older man. That's it. You're a young woman. He wants a younger woman. So do what you need to reel that in. Successful MD says, lust at first sight. Thank you for the super chat, Successful, once again. Yeah, I mean, come on. If you listen to what she's saying, then that's how you're approaching it. Just be honest. You following what she said to get this older man because he probably has money and he can take care of you and your kids. Bottom line. Let's continue.
Dating someone a little bit older, and after I did, I was like, oh, I could do this. It's not too bad.
That's very, very honest of you, and that makes a lot of sense. And I want to ask the online aspect of it. Was that also part of the strategy, so to speak, to be able to identify men that might be a little bit older?
It wasn't at first.
Okay.
Actually, one of my older sisters, said, why don't you just try online dating? She was like, it's not too bad. And I never had online dated, like not made any type of profile.
Right.
because I was like, I don't want people that know me to see me on here, and it's kind of embarrassing. And, you know, that's just was my thought process at the time. But then she was like, no, and my oldest sister, she's gorgeous, so it's not like she doesn't have in-person options. But she was like, you know, just try it. And so I tried it, did a paid dating app because I feel like it would be a little bit more, you know, smaller pool of better people. That, yeah, exactly. And, you know, I was able to meet, you know, some good guys.
So how long after that first date, you know, did you, because obviously he threw 2 months out. What happened after that first date? Did you guys continue exclusively dating?
Not really. I mean, we kind of dealt with each other, like talked, but I kind of was just talking to people. Like I kept my options open and just was letting people get to know me and taking things slow, not really rushing anything and not trying to get into a relationship at all. And I found that honestly, when I started dating older men, they wanted to rush into a relationship like immediately. On the first date, they were like, I want you to be my woman. No, I don't even know you. And that's kind of just how I would, you know, we need to get to know each other over a bit of time. And it turned out to be 6 months, not 2 months.
I think that is very interesting because, and initially when you told me about the things that, you know, your husband at the time was or the guy you was dating at the time, the things that he was saying, I thought, well, that's, you know, kind of strange for him to be saying those types of things. But based on your experience, you're saying that the older men, this was regular conversation.
Yes, they wanted to take me off the market right away.
Wow.
Right away.
Okay. So at this point, 6 months goes down the line. And what is the transition from you now taking him serious? What did you see? Because I know when it comes to the assessment of...
Let me stop there. Now, so, and I'm giving, this is just my opinion. My opinion in this is why she kept her options open, because the guy that she met, she wasn't really not that into him. Let's be honest. She wasn't that into him. That's why she kept her options open to see if she could get a better option. And when she couldn't get a better option, then she just went with him. Hence, the reason why she says she was dating another guy, and she said didn't seem like he was too into her kids or whatever. So then she just went with that one. So if you know, because honestly, I would say if you met this guy and he seems nice, then just date him, get to know him, see if you guys are a match or if you're compatible, and if not, move on. But when women keep their options open, is because they want to try to find a better option. That's it. That's just what it is. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right. It's just what it is. You want to keep your options open to see if you can find something better. And so, and when you can't, you know, if they're still hanging around, then you gonna go with them. If that's what you have, you know, because if you have all the options and you can't find what you want, then you go settle for the one that you can get. That's just what that is. And you know, women like to make men think they have all these options when in honesty they don't. A lot of them, and especially for what they're looking for, and they're looking for the highest bidder, the one with the most money, and the one who's willing to spend it on them. I'm saying. Train to Live has what it takes to get a man, just not what it takes to keep one. Shaking my damn head. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Hell. Child, let's continue.
You know, deciding to be a husband. A lot of, you know, what the noise is that, you know, it was solely a financial decision that was made. What's the truth behind the decision? What did you see in him to actually make him your husband?
He was so good with my boys. He was so good with them. Even my oldest son responded to him in a way that he didn't respond to with my ex. And I paid attention to those little things because I would gladly leave a man if he didn't mesh well with my kids. And I had did that with the man that I was in a more serious relationship with right before we got married, because I had started, like, that was the man that we started looking at rings, and the relationship was, you know, moving forward, and I had moved in.
There was another gentleman
Yeah.
that you met, and I believe you said that you got caught in the girlfriend stage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
could you detail what that relationship? How did you meet that guy? How did things kind of get started? And what exactly was the girlfriend stage?
We met online, and he just was, very consistent. He just wanted to do anything to make my life easier. What can I do for you? What do you need? Very nice and perfect gentleman. But he was nice to my children. All of the men were nice to my children. Like, if I met, there's probably 3 men that met my children. All of them were nice. But with
said
him
3
in
men that
particular,
met her.
because we started to live together, and it was a little bit more of an intimate setting. I feel like him and my oldest son clashed a little bit, because my oldest son, I kind of always let him be the little man of the house in a way. And he's very, very smart and highly intelligent child, and he is not just going to let any man come in and think that he's the boss right away.
Baby, listen, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. There's a lot more to this story, and I don't think that she was really giving every detail. Like in some of her other videos, there were some things she's leaving out when it comes to this particular interview. If we listen to the niece of her husband, she's saying that she's alleging that what was alleged happened to her daughters, that it allegedly happened by the son. That the son, one of her sons is autistic, allegedly. And there's some things with the son that's going on. There's a lot more to the story. And that the niece of her husband is speaking out on. I would love to hear from the father, but they're saying that there's an open case going on, and she's not even supposed to be talking about it, from what the niece is saying. So it's interesting to see how this plays out, because the father hasn't said anything, or her husband, and people are saying he's a little older, and he's probably not on social media like this, so he doesn't know about all of this, and she's on here talking a lot. But I would love to hear him speak out and defend his side of all of this, and to hear what he has to say. Because we always get the one-sided narrative. We never really get to hear from the men involved, the man who's being accused, like what's going on. Because from what the niece is saying is that he can see his kids. There's no active warrant out for his arrest. There's nothing. He's not charged with anything. He's not in jail. So what is going on? What are the charges? Is he being charged? He hasn't, from what she's saying, he hasn't been charged. There's still an investigation. So far, it seems like the investigation hasn't proven anything on his behalf, or proven that he's done anything wrong. So it's right now, that will be just considered hearsay, like because there's nothing that they've charged him with or found him to be guilty of. It's just speculation at this point. So, it's like I wouldn't even be out here talking about this until the actual charges have been brought and he's actually charged. And now you can say, hey, this is what it is. So I think it's a little premature to be out here on social media saying all these things, alleging all these things on a person who has not even been charged, and they don't even have a real solid case, seems to be, saying that he did anything wrong. So it's like jumping the gun for sympathy, once again, and to get the people on your side before the real answers or real evidence or real allegations have been proven to be true. So that's another reason why people don't believe her, and why people are looking at this sideways, is because all of the information is not there. Now, she's talking about being in 3 different guys she was dating and her kids saw, and for whatever reason, she's talking about their relationships. It didn't work out, and then she moved on. I'm gonna go ahead and speed it up a little bit. Let's see, because I don't want to sit here all day on this.
In conversation, potentially dating again with your husband. How long after you move into your apartment do you accept his invitation to now move in?
Within days.
Okay.
Within days. I mean, it was, I think that first conversation, one of the first few conversations, he was like, well, I told him what I was going through. Mm-hmm. And I said, I just need a place to stay for a little bit just to figure it out. And he said, well, if you come here, you're going to be my wife. Mm. And that was sexy to me. I was like,
Because
okay.
And I could imagine that, because you in emotional turmoil at that time. Mm-hmm. Finances is just tricky, just because you running into a bunch of unexpected things.
And he seemed like a good guy.
Yeah.
He did.
So finances were tricky. she was needing to move, and he wasn't one willing to. She was getting out of one relationship with the other guy because allegedly her and her son and that guy they clashed, and so now she needs some place to stay. And the other guy said, "Okay, you can stay with me," and she said, "Okay." Within days, and you and your 2 kids into a stranger's house who you don't really know, and that was okay. That was the right move, and it wasn't for financial reasons. It wasn't because it was just because. Maybe you were in a bind or you was in a situation because money was tight and you needed a place to stay, so you went with this guy. But finances and all that wasn't the reason. Okay.
If I thought he was a crazy man, I would have never entertained the idea.
How old were your boys at the time?
5 and 2.
5 and 2.
Yeah.
The 5-year-old. And see, I know it had to be a lot for the young boys too, because they just were introduced to this other brother here.
Yeah.
And now they got to see this new guy. Did the 5-year-old, did he express any concern or he just kind of going with the flow? 5 years old.
Honestly, we got married a week after that we started talking about the marriage, and at the wedding he said, "Can I call you Dad now?"
Wow. Well, I mean, that's a 5-year-old. Those you can't you don't you can't ask children 5 years old. That's little. That's young. These kids don't have no say, no control. They just go with the flow. They can't make a decision in this. So they're gonna do what kids too. Kids can adapt to situations whether they're good or bad. They don't know. They don't know at 5 if this is a detrimental situation or not until it is. You know what I'm saying? So there's no real input from a 5-year-old. They're gonna what choices can they make?
And he said, "Oh my gosh, yes, that means so much to me."
And was his own father in his life?
Not like that.
Not really?
Not like that.
I get it. So he was excited to actually have somebody
A
he can call
family.
Dad and a family.
I thought it was one of the happiest days of our lives.
In that span, from the time you moved in to the time you guys got married, how long was that?
From the time we got married and moved in?
Well, from the time you moved into his place.
I
to the
didn't
time-
live with him before we got married.
Oh, wow. So
No.
better question. From the time from that phone call you guys had to marriage, how long was that?
1 week. It was a week.
Oh my goodness.
It was a week, and I didn't live there until the day after. I remember moving my stuff
my
in
God.
the day before we were getting married, and I didn't sleep there. I went to the hotel that he booked for me and my sisters, a very nice suite. We had a beautiful wedding reception. I mean, he threw it together so quick. He was just like, "Here, just do what you want to do," and it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Do you feel like if you had enough money in your bank account to comfortably pay rent and other things, would you have made that decision?
Probably yes.
Okay.
Probably yes.
Because I know sometimes, when money's tight, that has a lot. Finances just have a lot to do with our decisions.
But I was making good money, and that's why I said I only needed like a little bit of time to stay. Even if I was to stay with a family member, I mean, it just.
Well, but why would you subject you and your children to a stranger? If you have money and you have resources, you'd have been like, "No, thank you." I know I would have been like, "No, thank you. I appreciate the offer, but you know what? I'm gonna stay over with my family member because it's just a short period of time. But thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not gonna go jump with a guy I barely knew." And expose my sons to a stranger like that. But that wasn't an issue for her because she had already exposed them to several different other guys. That wasn't an issue. But this is where I say accountability comes in. Just be honest about, hey, you wasn't thinking about that. You was thinking about yourself. A lot of times women do things with a selfish mind. It's not really about the concern of the kids, in my opinion. It's about you, what you want, how you want to move, what you want to do, not necessarily about the kids' safety or concern or any of that. Because if it really was, there's no way you're going to go jump in and live with a man you don't know with your kids. If you have your own finances together, too, if it wasn't a money thing, hell no, I'm not going to No, thank you. I appreciate the nice gesture, but I know I'm gonna stay over here, or I'm gonna stay in a suite myself. You could have got a suite or stayed in a hotel suite yourself. If it wasn't about finances, you could pay for it yourself. Put you and your kids in a nice suite, and y'all stay there until you find a new place or whatever it is you have to do. It's nice that he offered, but if you barely know somebody, and if it's not about the money or any of that, why would you accept that offer? That's what I'm saying. See, don't add up, child. It does.
Been a little bit because I was making good money working for my family. So I knew I would have been able to find something. I just hadn't had to plan to move so quickly.
Yeah.
And I moved my stuff in, went to the hotel, and the day after we got married, we went home.
Wow.
Started our lives.
And at that point, when you agreed to the marriage, if you could, give it on a scale to 1 to 10, how eager and excited were you to get married, and not to just get married to this particular gentleman, but just get married in general?
I was over the moon. I thought it was my fairy tale.
And that's the problem.
It seemed
Child, that's the
too
problem.
good to be true.
Ain't no fairy
I just
tale.
kept praising
This
God
is
and how good God was.
Like, y'all gotta stop
this
praying,
happened.
because this ain't it, baby. There's no such thing as fairy tales. This is the problem. I don't know who's teaching these young women, and this is what I would tell the young woman: stop believing in fairy tales, honey. They're not real. This is the real world, and it's brutal out here. And if you don't watch it, you'll find yourself in an uncompromising situation. This is not a damn fairy tale. This is real life. And if you're not hip to what's going on out here, you'll find yourself in a bad situation. And here we are. And this is why I think teaching these young women out here trying to finesse men and to use men and take advantage of them is not a good thing to do. You come across the wrong person, it ain't gonna look too pretty. This is not what you should be teaching these women. And you out here thinking that this world is a game and it's to play. No, it's not. It's not play. It's real. It's not a fantasy. It's not who told y'all half of these women grew up with single mothers living in a hard knock life, and you thinking that a fairy tale is gonna come and swoop you up out of here? Come on now. You ain't never seen a fairy tale in real life your whole life. You ain't never seen a prince in real life. You've never seen a king in real life. You've never seen anything that resembles a fairy tale in your whole goddamn life. The majority of people out here that struggle hard, raising them kids, single mothers. You ain't never seen nothing that resembles a fairy tale. Why do you think when you grow up, you supposed to be a man supposed to come and make your life a fairy tale? This is the problem. And now you got all these women out here thinking that this is what men's supposed to do, make your life easy and give you a fairy tale, and you ain't got to do nothing when you done already went out here living you already done lived a hard knock life. Now you want an easy life and think a man's supposed to be your knight in shining armor. And so women are out here looking for this, not understanding that these men may look like your knight in shining armor, but they're more like, I don't know what. Because you're out here looking for somebody to be your fairy tale prince, charming, and that's all you're looking for. And don't realize you setting yourself up for failure. But they don't get it, but they will. You will get it.
For me and my children, and we were finally a family.
Oh my God! It's funny. You're finally a family, but that wasn't nothing that you prioritized. That's not what you wanted in the beginning. Finally? It's not like you set out for that. A lot of these women never prioritized the family. They never really cared, never thought about it. It was just, you just out here hitting it and quitting it and doing what you want to do, having fun. They wasn't thinking about a family, and until you did. Now finally, what? Child.
When you decide to make the decision and you go about, informing your family, how did they receive that information?
They were shocked. I actually made
I
my
bet they were.
husband come ask my ex. I made him come ask my mother for my hand.
Wow.
That was a requirement for me to marry him to me. And he did so, and he was very respectful and just said, I'll take wonderful
That
care
was
of
the
your daughter.
requirement?
She'll never have to worry.
Jeez.
And her sons, they're mine now. And he said all the right things. And my family was there when we got married. I mean, I think they were like a little hesitant because of how quickly. But he seemed like he really loved me and my sons.
Was that the first time that you've ever had a man to not only profess his love for you, but to also profess his love for your two boys at that time?
I would say that men always would try to be nice and, just because, but I felt like it was, they wanted me. I'm going to be nice because I want her, not because it was genuine. I could tell he really wanted to be a dad.
Wow.
He really wanted to be a dad. And it just showed. It just showed. And everyone was so excited. He bought them all new toys. Picked out what beds do you want for them? Do you want to do their room? Whatever you want.
Also, he was very serious about getting everything set up.
That man at action.
Now the niece says that her uncle is a good dude. Now she says he's a good dude. So according to the niece says her uncle? Her uncle is a good dude. That he's a really good dude. He really wanted kids. So this part she's probably telling the truth. That he really wanted kids. He really wanted kids and he was a good dude. So how he come from being this good dude who was willing to give you and your kids, everything that he could and provide and take care of you and take you on because he knew what he wanted. And now how did he come from that to this evil man that she's portraying him to be now? According to what the niece is saying that it was the problem, not the man. That she was the problem when she couldn't get her way. Then she created this elaborate, alleged lie on the husband. That's what the niece is saying, that this is all a lie and she's batshit crazy, allegedly. And the man is a good man because she's saying he was a good guy. He cared about the kids, was willing to take the kids on and all of that. And, most people, you could call him a simp, whatever, but she's saying, hey, he was a good dude. He really wanted a family. And so he saw an opportunity and he was taking it and he really wanted to be with her. And he was doing what he wanted to do. He didn't mind marrying her. He didn't mind taking on the kids and going with, building a life. So I'm just saying, at what point did all of that change where he all of a sudden became a monster? You know what I'm saying? Now he was so great, so this, now all of a sudden, boom, fast forward, he a monster? Let's continue.
Action. That is something women respect.
When was the point that you started seeing some signs that things might not have been right with him?
Right. We waiting, ma'am.
Honestly, early on.
Early?
Not even a month. Some girl, his ex, was showing up at the doorstep. And she was like, well, he was supposed to be with me because we got married so fast. So,
Wow.
I guess she was maybe hanging around or I don't know. And she looked very, very, very young. But she was of legal age. I think she was 21, a few years younger than me. But she looked like a child.
Wow. So that was pretty much
looked like a
sight for the most part.
I told him.
She looked like a child. She said she was very, 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 very young. But you were young too. And it wasn't an issue when you decided to date him because you would listen to the Shira 7 lady saying, go at the older men, they have the money. So now you see another young woman who's legal age, by the way, she wasn't a minor. So as long as she's of legal age, then he wouldn't be committing a crime. She's young, but you were young too, and you went for him. So what's the difference? If he liked a younger woman, he wanted a family, because I think she's going to speak on him saying, I guess one of the conditions is, they got to have children. Because he wants a family. So okay, it wasn't like very, very, very young, like she was a minor. She wasn't a minor, she was of age. Same way you were young and of age too, talking to a man twice your age. So what's the difference?
How can you be attracted to her? Because she doesn't have a body or anything. She looks so young. And he was just like, he wouldn't really say much. But I'm like, well, I guess she is an adult. It's not illegal. I guess it's not weird. But to me, it's odd. Well, Yeah, she told me how old she was. She just came. We talked for a little bit, and it was
I mean, she shows up at the house.
He wasn't there. She was sitting on the step when I pulled up at home.
That was the first red flag.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then did it get progressively worse, or did it get better after that?
He was very controlling very early on. I remember actually the day we got married, I started seeing how insecure he was. He always thought I was looking at other men, like just imagining it, it seemed. Or maybe not even imagining it, maybe just trying to scare me into not ever thinking about doing it. I don't know.
And this is a man who has already expressed that he wants to grow a family. He wants to have children outside of the 2 young boys you already have.
Yes.
How would you describe your sexual relationship?
With him?
Correct.
Vanilla, normal, seemed like a normal guy. He wasn't.
So nothing.
No, he just, like, I never would think that this man would do this stuff. He hid it so well. Even, if I saw him watching adult videos, it was grown women that looked like me. I'm like, okay, well, I guess you're thinking about me. That's okay. Nothing like that. Not at all. He already knows I don't play that because he knew,
And was there any level of aggression or anything that ever became violent towards yourself? Like, did he ever have any of that energy towards you?
He never put his hands on me like that. No. He never put his hands on me. He was not physically abusive to me, but he was sexually abusive. I guess that is physically abusive.
Okay.
But when he first, what people have to understand is marital, I don't even know how to say it. Marital R word is never talked about. And it's a real thing. And I think I read it didn't even become illegal until 1970 something. So you have to think he may have grown up. This is a normal part of life. You own your wife. And he would use scripture to manipulate me. Your body is not your own. It belongs to your husband. And, that type of stuff too. And he would gaslight me. And I would be crying. Like, first it starts off, you think, oh, he's just trying to have sex and I just don't want to. And it's like, I'm telling him no. And, you think he's playing at first. And it's like, no, I'm serious. And then it gets to the point where you're like, he's not stopping. And I'm like fighting him and crying like, no. And
But was it a fact? Maybe it was she didn't want to have sex with him because she was not really attracted to him because he was older. And she maybe allegedly she didn't marry him for the right reasons. It was because of financial gain, because he could, take care of her and her kids, not necessarily because she was attracted to him physically and that she wanted to be with him. Maybe she didn't want to have sex with him because she was not physically attracted to him. And, maybe that's just what it is. I don't know. This is so why? And then on top of that, okay. So if we believe that this was happening, why did she stay with him? She says on the day of the marriage, first she said it was beautiful, the happiest day of her life. But then she noticed after they cut the cake and after they said I do, then he started becoming aggressive. When they went home that same day, he started saying you're mine and you can't look at nobody. Who you're looking at the goddamn wedding? Like what? When? So the day of the wedding, he just turned commando. Like he just went, you're for me and now. Do it. I look this way, like all of a sudden, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, he just all of a sudden became controlling, and you decided to stay and then give him children. So you decide to stay because first off, remember, she barely knew him. So you barely knew him. You didn't vet him. You didn't care, whatever. Let's just get together. You just is literally a stranger. So it's not, you have time to walk away. Even just because y'all got married, you can get that annulled. and walk away, because this is not, you don't really know this guy. Maybe perhaps you made a mistake and this was not something you should have done in the first place. But now, damn, already we just got married, the happiest day of your life, and then it turned tragic because he became demanding that same day. And so you didn't think, oh damn, maybe I need to walk away from this before I get in too deep, because you still got time. Y'all ain't in deep yet. You could have walked away from this and annulled this if you felt it was crazy, and then on top of that he becoming controlling right away. No, something seems weird. Let's continue.
And it happened 4 times, but I remember the last time something in me said, don't fight and don't cry. Just lay there. He couldn't even finish. He just got off of me and just said, we're getting a divorce. And I realized that he was just attracted to the sadistic part of it.
Hold on, wait. So you used to fight him and cry, and you felt like that was what turned him on? Because
It was for sure. Because the last time it happened, when I just laid there, like I just had to be very quiet. Like I just knew just to lay there like a dead fish, basically.
So he wasn't abusive to her in any way. She said he did not touch her physically. He wasn't abusive, just in that way. So why would you know what I'm saying? It's just weird. And if you know that this is what he's doing, you know for a fact what he's doing, and you still just stay. He wasn't abusive. So it wasn't like he was allegedly threatening her or telling her, I'm going to do this and hurt you if you say something. Because I understand with some people, they have these aggressive men who have been abusive, and a lot of women are afraid. But in this case, she doesn't seem to, he's not threatening her. He's not abusive. So she's not really afraid, but you still decide to go on with what he's doing. That's crazy.
And he just couldn't even finish.
Did you ever think to file a criminal report when that was happening, or did you just not want to do that because that was your husband?
It didn't even. It's hard. There was so much gaslighting. He'd finish and then be like, "Babe, why are you crying? I thought you wanted it." And hold you and rub you, and I love you so much. The next day, you and the kids everybody's getting new clothes, and and you're thinking, my husband is a good guy, he's not, and I am his wife. I mean, my body does belong to him, and it says in the Bible. So, what am I complaining about?
Oh, no.
But the last time, he never did it again because he knew that I knew that what it was about.
So, by the way, were you his first wife?
I didn't even realize how many times that man had been married before I married him. I'm his 4th wife.
Wow.
Did you?
4th wife. Of course you didn't know, because you just jumped with him. Because he looked like a man of means. He looked like a man who could provide for you and your kids, and that was all it was about. There's no vetting. These people, this sprinkle lady ain't teaching y'all to vet these men and really try to find real stable relationships. They're telling y'all to go into it for money. What he can provide for you. Make him spend money on you. Make him do this. Make him do that. You don't care about any of that. So you do. Of course you didn't know he had 4 wives. You didn't care. What's the point? No, you look like he can take care of you and them kids because you struggling, and that's it. This is what happens when you go into relationships or subject yourself into situations that for the wrong reasons. This is what happens. And this is not good. It's really not. You know what I mean? You're only in it for something you can gain, not for real. The man been married 4 times, whatever. You know, none of that. And you think that this is the way to go? So hopefully maybe she can use this to tell young women, don't do what she did. Don't go looking for a man just for money and finances. Come on. Like, Lord have mercy. She said,
You know that before marriage?
No, his
No,
mom
of course
slipped
she
up and
didn't.
told me.
So she knew she wasn't supposed to tell you that.
I don't know. He had told me he was married 2 other times, but he said that the women cheated on him and whatever.
Did you find that out to be true? Did you ever speak to his ex-wives?
I spoke to one ex-wife, but she was so reluctant to even talk to me. I don't even know what he put her through, because she was just like, when you called me, it took me back to a bad place. And I was like, oh, she was just didn't share much.
Now, amidst the abuse, you are still together. You're still growing a family. And now you are, if I'm not mistaken, 3 daughters in.
Well, I got pregnant with our first daughter 4 months into the
4
marriage.
months to the marriage,
We
okay.
had been trying to conceive from the time that we got engaged. The time he put the ring on my finger, it was, all right, you know. We knew we were getting married. So he was so excited. He was so excited.
You know, what I'm curious about is in this, it just seems, I mean, this is a lot.
It sure
a
is.
lot. I can were you happy in your marriage at all?
I was. There was good and bad, but we had a good friendship. And I think that was, one of the main things. We loved to watch movies together and spend time together, and we loved.
You know what? We gonna move, y'all, because this is very draining. It really is. It's very draining. I'm having a hard time, honestly, believing her. I really am. I'm having a hard time believing her. And I would love to hear both sides. I can't just hear one side and not the other and just make a decision. I would love to hear her husband or soon to be ex-husband tell his side. I would love to hear his side of the story to get his perspective and then kind of make my, clear thoughts on what I believe and what I don't. I would love to hear his side of the story to form a real opinion. Let's move on because I just think, we're going to move on to, they're going to bring in the therapist lady. And I want y'all to hear what she had to say because I think what she has to say is important. And she's going to give her thoughts on it. And remember, the therapist, she doesn't know any of this. She's not familiar with the story. So she's going to go off of what she's seen now, and she's going to make her opinions on it. And I want y'all to hear that.
Dating as a single mom. Luckily, he didn't prey on his stepchildren. But what if he did?
You know what I want to do here? It's a blessing to say this, but
But she was talking about, just to give a little clarity about him, he, from her knowledge, he hasn't done this to anybody else. There's no other accusations or other people coming out saying, well, he touched me too, or, in the other previous marriages or whatever. I don't know if the others had kids, but there's no other allegations of him doing this to any other child or any other person whatsoever. He doesn't have a history from her account, and nobody else has come forward saying, yeah, he touched me too, or he did this to my kids too, or I was, it was sketchy and I was concerned. Nobody else has ever said that this man touched them or did anything. Even on her account, the ex-wives, none of the ex-wives really came out and said, oh, he tried to force himself on me too, and he did this to me too. She's the only one that alleges this. Nobody else. And I think something good that the therapist is going to point out is how people who have this nature or people who are sick like this, they don't do it or try it with one person. They normally have a history of doing this with several people. It's not one and done. They have a history of doing this if this is a part of who they are. So I'm glad she points that out. Now I'll let you guys hear that. But I think that's a very key thing to point out. Okay. Sexual predators that's why they're called predators. They don't just do it with one person. It's usually a history, even when they're younger. You know what I mean? When they're younger, as teenagers, as little children, you find some of these kids touching on other little kids, or, they do it with other kids. And then when they grow up, they tend to do that. That's something in them. So I thought that was a good thing that she points out. But this is interesting. Let's continue.
the Spirit actually did show up here backstage today. So one of the greatest, most world-renowned therapists is actually backstage to join us in this conversation.
3,300 people in the chat. The chat is going bananas right now. Dr. Spirit, thank you for joining us. Where's she at?
Absolutely, Ken Lano.
Hey,
Dr.
guys.
Spirit, what's up with you, Dr. Spirit? Everybody welcome.
Hey.
Drop a Dr. Spirit in the chat real quick.
I like that. Dr. Spirit got that set too. That's looking nice back there.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm working late at the office, so I couldn't come into the studio, but they told me that you needed me, so I'm here.
Absolutely.
Oh, listen, Dr. Spirit, I already know you one of the busiest therapists in the world. All right, so I am absolutely blessed.
It's a long day.
I know. Every day is probably a long day. But we have Isis Morales here, who has, one of the most viral stories and testimonies right now on the internet, who came in here to join us. Okay. I know you like to come in absolutely blank because Dr. Spirit said, prior, I don't want to know anything. I want to come in with a blank slate. I just want to come in and meet the young lady and talk to her. And the purpose, by the way, because I want you to be able to do what you do with Isis, because this situation is not unique, unfortunately. Okay. So I would like you to give her the best counsel that you could, and also just in general, any other ladies that might be in a situation, how they can move forward and advance, who might have experienced something similar. But in general, Dr. Spirit, I would like you to go ahead and take it from here.
Well, one of the things that I really want to ask, and I feel bad that I'm just jumping in because I'm sure you've probably already shared this story with the audience, but what is it that you need from me tonight? How can I help you? I'm not familiar with your story. I'm not familiar with the viral moment. I'm not familiar with anything. And I'm meeting you for the first time where you are. And so as you think about where you are and what it is that you're going through in your life right now, how can somebody who does the work that I do, how can I serve you tonight?
I think that, I don't think, my therapist has definitely told me that I have post-traumatic stress disorder from these events. And I've kind of taken on a shape or this feeling of I just never think that I can trust a man again. Because of, if my own children's father, their biological father, the man that, made them, would do this, then who can I trust? And I told a woman this the other day, and she said, that spirit that's been following you and your family, that generational curse, that spirit that's in charge of that generational curse, it doesn't want you to be married. And it hit home so much to me. And how do I heal?
The spirit of the generational curse that doesn't want her to be married. What? Huh? A lot of times people talk as if they don't have control of their own decisions. They act as if somebody else is controlling their decisions. And mainly the decisions that lead to stuff that don't work out. Because see, when you make decisions that yield you good results, you take full accountability for those. If you make a choice and it yields you something great, that was me. I did that. You're proud. But when you make poor decisions that lead to things with poor outcomes, it's the spirit of the generational curse that don't want you to succeed. It's the spirit of the boogeyman that's down deep under, that's trying to trap me and make me not successful. Oh my God, it's that devil, that demon lurking in the background who just don't want to see me do well. Oh my God. Ooh, that generational demon, I'm going to cast it out. It's just trying to see me fail. But but when you make decisions that do good, it's all you. It's you, nobody else. You did it all by yourself, me, myself, and I. I'm accountable for that. I'm going to speak to that. Nobody helped me do shit. I did it all by myself. I did that. But the same person hates to acknowledge when they make poor decisions and you get bad outcomes, boo. Come on, make that make sense. It doesn't. It's like I've been hearing, things go good. Praise God. Made it happen and it did good. When it go bad, that devil is a lie. Come on, y'all got to get this shit together because this is not it. You know what I'm saying? No accountability. There was so many mistakes she's made, and everything is 1 minute it's aligned and this is what God wanted and you're going to trust him. And the next minute it's that demon and that devil down in the dirt, swooped up and don't want to see me succeed. Instead of you saying, you know what, you exposed your kids to a man you did not know. You was living with him and married to him in a couple of weeks. You did not know his background. You didn't even know he had previous wives, 4 wives. You didn't know anything about him. You know if he was a liar. You didn't know you could trust him. You didn't know shit about him, but you probably knew he had some type of money, because that's all you cared about, in my opinion, allegedly. Oh, he looked like he got some money. Okay, that's it, because that's what that lady told you. Oh, get him to spend money on you. He took you out. He put you in a nice suite. He spent money on you. He did this. He bought the kids this. He did that. So, let's just go with him. You knew nothing about him. So if you subject yourself to a situation like this where you didn't know nothing about, what do you think the outcome is going to be? Do you think that that's going to yield you a long-lasting, healthy, stable relationship with a man? Because clearly it doesn't equate to that, because here you are. Now you're going to be a single mother of 5 looking for another man to come in and take care of you and your kids. Because if it wasn't about finances then, what do you think it's going to be about now? Because now you have more responsibilities. Let's continue.
How do I heal?
Well, tell me, how have you decided that because I was in a relationship with one man who did unthinkable, unspeakable things to me, how have you decided that he is a representation of all men? And that somehow that now means that you could never trust another man, when you're even sitting with 2 men being trustworthy tonight, sharing your story, and all the other people who are supporting you in the chat tonight? Tell me about this idea of I can never trust an entire gender ever again.
It's not about that I believe I can't. It's that I just don't know if I can take the chance. That's it. I just feel like I can't take the chance. How is that different?
It's not that I can't. I just can't take the chance. So that says then it's not that I don't trust all men. It's that you don't trust yourself at this point.
Exactly. Because my husband appeared to be such a good dad. And I mean, I just would have never, ever, ever expected him to do this. So it may be my own judgment, it may be my own trauma, and I just feel maybe I don't trust myself to ever be with a man again. And people talk about hypervigilance, and I was always a hypervigilant mom.
Girl, but you said just not too long ago you want to have more children. So you will need a man to do that, right? So you gonna trust them at some point if you're talking about having children, having more children. She said earlier she want more children. Didn't she say that? Am I tripping? In 10 years, well, didn't she say she want more children? So you gonna trust? So how you go from wanting more children? You gonna need a man to have them children to now you don't think you'll ever trust them again? Come on, it's contradictory. She's contradicting herself throughout this whole thing. You'll be able to trust them because you just said you want more children. So you gonna need a man to do that. To now, I don't think I'll ever trust a man ever again. Really? But you'll trust one to have some sex with and make a baby? Ma'am.
He knew that he had to be the sneakiest of sneaky because I was always watching. So to me, how can I even rationalize what has...
He couldn't have thought that he would have to be the sneakiest of sneakies because he knew that probably anything could fly if that's the case. Well, I don't even know if I believe all of that, but you got with him so quickly. I mean, it wasn't like you put up a fight. It wasn't like you were like, nah, I don't trust strangers around my kids. We're gonna have to postpone that. I got to get to know you. It's not like she put that out there like she jumped right on in. How did he know he had to be the sneakiest of sneakies when you just fell right into his arms? If he was a predator, girl, you jumped right into his arms. He could, if that man did do that allegedly, you gave him all what he needed. There was no pushback. There was no, hold on, I don't want you. There was nothing stopping him. Why he know he didn't have to be sneaky? It's not like she presented presented herself as a person to say nah. Because if that was the case, she would not have married him so quickly, and she would not have moved into his house so quickly with her kids. She would not have subjected her kids to any stranger in that way. If anything, if you had said, nah, he would not even have met her kids. If she was that so on, vigilant about protecting her kids, he would not even have met them. He would not even have met them. She would have kept them separate from that. She could have dated him, but he never would have met her kids because she don't want to expose her kids. Most women who think like that, they don't want to expose their kids to their dates until you know that it's something serious, until y'all been dating for a while. And then when y'all know, oh, we're going to be together, so now I want to introduce you to my kids. Most women who think like that, them men don't meet them kids because you don't want to subject your kids to new men when you don't know if it's going to be serious or not. So come on, this idea that you're so vigilant about that is not, that's off, because your kids, you would never even let them man meet your kids. And she said she was dating several men who met her kids. The two don't go together.
It's happened to even think about ever wanting to move on again.
So when you say, I don't trust myself or my judgment ever again, what is it that you're not trusting not to happen?
I'm just scared. I'm just scared. That's all. I'm just scared.
Scared that what?
Someone could appear to be someone that they're not.
And what would happen if that's the case?
Lives could be ruined.
When you say, I'm just scared that lives can be ruined, what is the story that you are telling yourself that causes you to then conclude as a choice, I'll simply never trust again? You're giving these little snapshots, but you're not telling the whole story.
Oh, and maybe she is not telling the whole story. And I don't know if, if she knew the doctor was coming up here or not, or maybe she did, but I'm pretty sure she did not want the doctor. I don't think that she really wanted the therapist, because the therapist is getting a little bit deeper than the host. And, it will cause you to have to think and answer a little bit more deeper, because she's analyzing her. She's looking and she's breaking and she's thinking of the story, listening to how she's answering. And that doctor knows something is not right. For her to say, you're not telling the whole story, she was right on point. Exactly. I don't think she's telling the whole, and I'm not a therapist, and I can see, I don't think she's telling the whole story. I don't think she's accurate with the whole story. And you could tell, when somebody is being honest, it just flows. It comes out. And they tell the truth, and they make themselves accountable too. When you're telling the truth, you can't help but to tell your part too. You can't help but to say, you know what? I made a mistake. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. But when you're trying to be the victim, it's never going to be any accountability on your part. It's always going to be on that person. It's always going to, the focus is to always look at the other person as the aggressor. The focus is to always look at the other person as the villain, to always point that person as the villain and never put any accountability on you. So you make light of your poor decisions. You make light of your bad choices, and you make what they did, you blow it up. You make it astronomical. You make what they did the big villain of it all. Like, he's the problem, not you. He is the problem. And you slightly can acknowledge little things, but you got to go jump back to, oh no, he's the problem. That's when you're trying to play the victim to get people to feel sorry for you so that you can get something out of it. This isn't done for no reason. All of this is done for some type of financial gain. She has a GoFundMe, which we're going to get to that, because once again, I want to play what the therapist is saying, and then we're going to get off of this, y'all, because I got to get out of here. But this is crazy. And I'm saying allegedly because, once again, we don't have all of the information. We don't have the full story. We don't know how this is going to come out or whatever. But just all I'm saying, in my opinion, just something is off with this. And I think the therapist can see it as well. Let's continue.
I think I keep blaming myself and saying, how could I have missed this? How could I have missed this? How could I have missed this? It repeats over and over. How could I have missed this? And it's just a very scary thought that I do.
How? It can't be this is some shit right here. What do you mean, how could you have missed it? I could tell you how you missed it, and many others could tell you how you missed it. You jumped into a relationship with a man after 2 weeks. What you mean, how could you have you didn't know him? He was a stranger. How could you have missed it? You didn't get to know the person good enough. What What you mean? How could you? It's very clear how you missed it, baby. What's wrong? So she is the problem. You're the delusional one in all of this. She don't even understand the choices she made and how you missed it. Is because you didn't get to know the man. You jumped right in with him for whatever reason, you know. And what you mean? It's clear as day. You don't understand that?
I just don't want to have to ever have again in any other situation.
So when you ask yourself the question, how could I have missed this? Is the fear that as I go forward, I will miss things again?
Oh my God.
I just am not interested in wanting to find out. Unfortunately, and I know with my therapist, she said it's going to take time to heal, and I need you to understand that all men are not predators, and you know, this is just your PTSD speaking right now. So you guys are seeing me real and raw, unhealed completely. We're all still healing. We're all in therapy, family therapy, individual therapy. We're doing all the things. But, you know, this is just me right now. This is my truth right now today. And I'm just here sharing it.
Yeah. And my heart goes out to you and the family. I think that you're doing all of the right things, and it may take a very long time. And I want you to know that healing does not mean that you will ever forget. But the thing that becomes important is that as you are moving forward in your healing, that you don't tell yourself a story that stops you from finding the healing that goes along with this. Because right now, because one person that you were married to did heinous, heinous things, now you will block yourself in that space. But you're not telling yourself, I'll never have friends again.
Yeah.
You're not telling yourself that we'll never play with cousins again. You're not telling yourself that I don't have to worry about anybody else anywhere in the world. You have decided that one man who sat in the place of a spouse is somehow in a position that now makes you decide that only a spouse is who I need to be careful of. Only a spouse is who I need to be watchful for. And what I want you to understand is it wasn't about the role that he played, it was about the man that he was. And so as you are in your healing journey, what I want you to be able to learn is about how do you protect yourself and your children and your community from predators.
Well,
Not every man.
Yeah, predators in general, because all predators aren't just men. It could be a woman. It could be other children. You know, predators aren't just men. It's not just isolated to a man. Successful MD says her eyes were focused on money and comfort. I agree. Thank you, Successful. I agree. It wasn't about all that. It was about the money. Yeah, that's what she listened to. She listened to people who talk about money. Get that man to spend money on you. Money. Don't, do this and do that. Manipulate him. Get the money. That's it. You don't care about nothing else until this issue. Or until you can't get the money, child.
And is a predator. Not every woman is a predator.
I do understand, and that has been a part of my healing journey is reading different books. I ordered Father, Daughter, Incest by Judith Lewis.
And just talking to our sister here, because I mean this is a touchy situation. I wanted obviously we asking questions, and we're getting her story, her testimony, but I wanted somebody to be able to give her some insight. Especially, I mean, it's babies involved, in this situation, families involved. In fact, the world is involved, at this point.
Well, and I want to know if you all have questions. One of the populations that I have worked with over the years have been convicted sex offenders. And so I have had an inside understanding in the minds of individuals who have behaved in such ways. And I'm curious whether it is this young lady that you guys are speaking with tonight, or if it's members in your chat who may have had questions about how do they protect themselves, how do they protect their communities. What is it that people need to know in order for us to not only heal each other, but in order to make sure that there are no more victims among those that we love?
Yes. Please share with us any knowledge that you have is helpful not only to myself but to everyone.
And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop the link in the chat so we can come up, so the audience can come up and join Dr. Spirit up here.
Absolutely, y'all. So go ahead. It's about that time. Dr. Spirit, we got your time tonight. I know it's nice and late. You gonna rock with us here tonight?
I'm gonna rock with you for a few minutes. I'll give you a good 20, 30 minutes. Come on.
There you go. We got about a good 20, 30. So y'all get some free therapy. I think Dr. Spirit is like 3 years back rolled right now. If you're trying to get some real therapy from Dr. Spirit.
We'll take it. Thank
So
you,
we're going to go ahead
ma'am.
and we'll get a light 30 minutes in. So Ryan is dropping the link in the chat. And what we're going to do is you guys can head backstage when you want to join.
It happened. So, and
me
everybody
back
you
up.
want to put.
I like the question.
Call in, and we've got the honorable, the most lit Dr. Spirit joining us.
So I just want you guys to be very careful. Children that they love could be, even would consider doing more heinous things. Oftentimes they think that that's something that's specific to their relationship. So again, I don't know the story here. I don't know the backstory. But when we're talking about a victim of abuse, they don't necessarily think if I have children with someone, they will abuse someone too. And I want you to remember this because it's very easy to sit back and judge somebody when you have a healthy mind in a space that is absent of trauma. When you are caught in a cycle, the way that you see things, the way that you feel about things, the way that your brain operates is very different. So that may be also why you're hearing how she was perceiving relationships before she had therapeutic support and how she's perceiving those things now. And so I just want you guys to be very careful. It is very hard to understand what victims go through if you have never been a victim yourself. But one of the things that most victims will tell you on the other side of healing is that nobody is judging or critiquing them more, and nobody is suffering more than the victims who are going through the experience.
Well,
So
the reason
asking questions are important, but asking them from a place of objectivity is even more important.
But and I agree with her, and I think, you know, and yes, she's speaking from a place of people who have not been victims, but there are a lot of people who have been victims and people who understand what that is like. And so for the people who understand what that is like, they also understand how they approach these things and how they move, and the way she's going about it is different from the way most victims would handle these types of things. True victims, not somebody who's making it up or looking, you know, for who have ulterior motives. People who've been through this kind of stuff, like I said, this case is not unique. This is not, you know, there are a lot of people who have been through abuse. There are a lot of people whose children have been molested and abused, and they don't usually handle it this way. And this is why I say, you know, the way she's going about it, it looks sketchy to me. And I mean, you know, and I understand that, oh, you know, she's saying, you know, she's been through these things, but the focus is supposed to be the kids. To me, the focus is on the children, but it's more of a focus on her, when the focus should be on getting therapy and help for the kids and not publicizing this whole situation, because this is, like I said, it's about the children. And if you are a mother, and I said a bit earlier, speaking as a mother, if something like this occurred with your kids, the last thing you want to do is go on social media and post this about your children. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. I don't think anybody would want to go on social media and talk about your child being abused. And really sit here and have time to go from show to show to show and talk about. I wouldn't want to sit there and keep constantly talking about this or something my children had to experience. My focus would be on my children and their well-being and how to protect them. You see what I'm saying? That's the part I can't wrap my brain around as a mother. There's no way in hell. Like I said, the only reason I would be on social media talking about it is if they done lock me up for doing something that I thought would protect my kids, or if I'm sitting here with detectives and lawyers trying to figure out how we're going to use social media to get this ninja caught or locked up. I'm not going to be sitting on here crying about it and trying to make people feel sorry for me when I'm more concerned about my kids. That's just my take on it, baby. Let's continue.
Well, the
And
reason why I framed my
Darwin, we're gonna let you close out here so we can get to the other callers. But go ahead, brother.
the reason why I framed my question like that is because she believed in what I believe in. I believe in God. So she gave me a source of a way to hold her accountable when she start saying God this and God that. And if you read the word, you would know that sexual immorality or physical abuse or anything like that is pretty much grounds for divorce. And that supersedes any type of gaslighting or emotional manipulation. If she's so grounded in the word and scripture, that actually supersedes any of the other offenses this man put towards her. And that's the reason why I framed my question like that. Because if we're going to call ourselves spiritually driven and backed by biblical principles, sorry, that's my son in background, we have to be unwavering. We have to be unwavering. And that's the only reason why I framed my question like that. But my sorrows goes out to you. I hope that you can heal from this. And I appreciate you, Dr. Spirit, for talking to the lady.
I appreciate you as well. And please
I agree
understand,
with
for
Bruce.
everybody
That's
that
Bruce.
may be in the chat tonight, I want you to understand that it's not about defending anybody. It's not about debating anybody. The only thing that I want to do is offer as much clarity as possible, because I want us all to be our best selves. And I wish that more pastors had Darwin's perspective. I wish that more church members had that perspective that says be unwavering in support of victims, because most folks who are working with church folks who are being wounded by their partners, who are being wounded by their spouses, who are being wounded by family members, if we were unwavering in abuse and we protected and stood up for one another, we wouldn't have victims stand in situations trying to take it to prayer closets, praying it away, acting like it doesn't matter, being ashamed, and keeping that trauma a secret. So here for healthy, however we have to find it.
Absolutely. And thanks so much, Darwin, for joining
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Let's get the next one up here. We got a young lady coming up here. What's her name? Ayana. What's up with you, sister? How you doing?
Well, this is like such a sad story, just in general. So I first wanted to say I'm so sorry to Isis that you even had this experience. I wouldn't wish this type of thing on anybody. My question is, in hindsight, is there any like small signs that now seem like they were a bigger thing? Like, is there anything that you can think back on possibly that maybe now you're like, oh my gosh, that might have been a signal that this person was an evil monster?
The signs were very, very small and covert, to be honest. When I think back, little things, sometimes my daughter, it appeared that her and my husband, or both of my daughters and my husband, had a very good relationship. But sometimes she would come when we were sitting together and she would say, "Mommy, I love you the most." And she would only say it when he was around. So sometimes little signs like that, it's not always a red flag at the time, but now in hindsight, I'm like, was she just trying to tell me that she didn't feel safe around him?
Wow. Now, Dr. Spirit, I do want you to chime in on this because Isis did mention about, her spouse being controlling as well.
Wow.
So what are some things that the ladies and also, guys should look for when it comes to identifying if a partner may, eventually become controlling or manipulative?
Well, there's a difference between controlling and manipulative and sexual abuse. So I want us to be very clear on that.
Got you.
And so when we're talking about how do we protect children from sexual abuse, one of the things that we have to let them know is that we are unwavering in our protection of them. And as much as we love our spouses, their mommies, or their daddies, we don't love anybody and won't protect anybody more than we will protect them.
Amen.
And if they ever have something to tell us, we will believe them.
Amen.
So it's important for us to have those kinds of conversations with our children. It's important for us to use the right language about their body parts and about privacy. And especially to your point, Ryan, when you're talking about control, you want to make sure that children know that nobody has control over their bodies except for them. So not mommy, not daddy, and no one has the right to touch your penis. We don't call it a pecker or a Johnny or a Johnson. We call it a penis. We don't call a vagina a pocketbook or cookies or cupcake or anything else.
No, but I wonder if she had that conversation with her daughters, with her, because I didn't hear her mention that. Did she have that conversation with them about that? And another question I had too was, okay, so how many times have he allegedly touched them or whatever? What exactly did he do to the daughters? Because she mentioned something about it, but she didn't really go in depth. And how many times did it occur? Did it happen once, twice, 3 times? And how many times, have she been made aware of it? And what did she do? Because, after the first time, it's like, oh, hell no. So what, there's a lot missing. There's a lot missing. And, I wish she would expound on it more, but she doesn't really. And these are some serious allegations. They really are. To accuse somebody of something like this, and not have all of the information and all of the evidence that she and the fact that she's going public with it, like putting it all out there, and not really giving all of the information is very dangerous. You know what I'm saying? And so, I don't know. It's just a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And like I said, if you was a person that was molested as a child, you have children, one of your main priorities is to protect your children from potential predators. That one of the main things is to protect your kids. That's at the forefront of I'm just saying, at the forefront of your mind, that hell no, you are not going to allow your children to go through that type of situation, especially if you've been through it. And so that, once again, I will say, look, most people who have been molested know this, and that's their first line of defense. Like, hell no sleepovers. I'm not going to, they do things to safeguard their kids, because when you've been through something like that, you understand how you felt, you understand how it made you feel, you understand what it's like to go through that. So you want to protect your kids. And so one of the first steps I'm telling you is you do not allow your kids around people who are strangers. You do not trust folks. You do not trust your kids around anybody, and you protect them and safeguard them as much as you can, because you don't trust individuals and you don't want your children to have to go through that. So to me, the fact that she felt so comfortable and she was so trusting, and she just thought, oh, this is, seen as she said she was, taken advantage of young. She didn't seem to have that approach. And I'm not saying everybody would think like that, but I think a lot of people do. They're more protective over their kids, because they don't want that type of thing to happen to them. I don't know. It's just she seemed too open and trusting and easily ready to just, expose her kids to strangers and herself. So, I don't know. It's just a lot in this case. And I really would love to hear from the father. I would love to hear more about this, and see how this turns out. I really do. Let me see what this last lady had to
What's
say.
your question?
So my question, I guess, would be with the platform of Me Too and the significance of really platforming your experience of like grave trauma, especially in the midst of healing with what you seem to experience, which is PTSD, and then also just coming to terms with the fact that you're probably also simultaneously dealing with a case. My question would be, what are the psychological implications of platforming your experience? How do you navigate the backlash that comes with sharing your experience? Because like even reading the chat, like it's been like typed before it even like got live. So my thing is like, how do you steward that type of platform in a way that's going to bring you peace ultimately?
My peace comes from God, because he's the one that's leading my steps, and that's been my prayer every day. God, lead my steps. And I felt like God wouldn't let me move forward in life until I spoke my truth, because it's just been swept under the rug for so long, generationally. And this isn't something that's just affecting my own family. This is affecting more families than we know. And it was important to share, especially in the wake of the Menendez brothers case and just all that's going on in the world with all these predators being exposed. And Cat Williams was very prophetic when he said that this is the year. Time is up. This is the year. And I knew I had to say something.
So I want to, it's
Great question, Brianna.
yeah, great question, Brianna. Really, really great question, because this is a unique situation, Dr. Spirit. This ISIS has put out a testimony video that got 2.4, 2.5 million views, something around at this point. So, I mean, she's being inundated. I can imagine with probably emails, comments, DMs,
Phone calls, everything.
Phone
you can imagine.
calls.
People
Family,
just,
people
yeah.
from elementary school, anybody.
Oh my gosh, it's just been crazy.
And I can imagine it's all types of emotions, right? You got the people who are, reaching out with love and support, and you got the other people who are pissed off, who are probably, calling you a liar, telling you that all these different things are happening.
Where's the accountability, so everything.
Yeah.
100%. So, I mean, that's a unique situation, Dr. Spirit, to kind of be dealing with that whirlwind, of other people being involved in your business at this point, and you're a content creator. So the thing about it is that is your job, because you put them in your business as a coach, because you were really helping these ladies. So you almost had a responsibility to tell them these other things and involve them in your advancement. But this is a different level of trauma, and just energy even coming your way at this point. Dr. Spirit, what do you say to somebody going through something like that in that type of space?
Well, as I'm listening to you guys, I'm learning more and more. And for me, it's concerning, because it's very hard to help people when you are experiencing so much trauma.
Yeah.
And so as you are out here telling your story in a way that you are still unpacking it, in a way that you're still trying to process it in therapy, in a way that you're still trying to make sense of it and heal it, I don't know what type of coaching that you do, and I don't know how you are able to navigate actual healing while experiencing trauma on trauma. I mean, that tells me a little bit maybe more about your presentation, because I can hear it. It sounds like you're choking back tears constantly, but then your face and your affect doesn't show me, and maybe it's, I don't have my glasses on, so, I can't
I'm
see.
trying to keep it together.
So there's like so many different things that are happening that I would just say, at the end of the day, you don't owe anybody anything except for you and your children. So while I think that it's wonderful that you are wanting to platform the story and give the story voice, I want you to recognize that there are millions of advocates around the world who are already doing the work around sexual violence. I want you to know that there are many folks who are telling the stories and serving to protect individuals and to sound the alarm about sexual abuse, about spousal rape, about sexual assault. And you don't have to use your platform, and you don't have to use your trauma in order to be able to stand in the gap for individuals if you know you still need to do your own work. And I want you to be very, very careful, because you will traumatize yourself in new ways, exposing yourself at a point in time when you are absolutely raw, when you don't have the answers, where you don't have the understanding, where you can't even make sense of it. So to put yourself out here, I don't know if it's a form of therapy for you. I don't know if you're just part of the generation where everybody says, look at my trauma, and everybody, we can just go through it together, and that helps me heal.
It's not that.
I'm not sure what it is.
It's not that at all.
What I would say is, think about your wellness first. Think about your care first. And remember, you have plenty of time to be able to share your story and your healing and be effective with the world. But you have to take care of you first.
Well, she didn't want to hear that. In my opinion, she didn't want to hear that, because that will take away from the grifting. She's trying to get trying to incite people to feel sorry, to go to that GoFundMe, give her some money to take care of her and these kids, because the father done messed up, and now he doesn't want to do what he's supposed to do financially. So she needs to get people on her side so that they can buy into her story. You know what I mean? So to get off of here and not talk about it would take away from the potential money. Come on now, I don't think people are stupid. Okay, look, this definitely is something that should be handled outside of social media, off social media. This is your kids. What the hell? You think I got time to be on a goddamn platform, some damn social media, if my children were being molested by their father? You think I'm gonna be on here talking about that shit? No, this is stuff you're supposed to handle outside of this. I don't give a damn. This is to get to the bag. You know, let's get to the people. Let's play on their emotions. Let's play on the women, you know, because women are the ones who get emotional behind this. The women are the ones who are always the ones jumping to go do these GoFundMes and jumping the gun to go and give these people money. Like, money is going to help her kids. Money is not going to help their emotional state and the trauma that they've suffered if she's telling the truth. That money ain't gonna do nothing for them. That's gonna line her pockets because she need the money, because she jumped with a man who had allegedly had some money, but she didn't know anything about him. Why is that somebody else's responsibility? But this is how it goes. You know, you go back to the brick lady and other people playing on women's emotions. Oh my God, I'm so sorry this happened to you. And if this happened, this is very tragic. But this is not the place to deal with this. And your kids are involved. This is not just some random people. This is your kids. Are you serious? And it's the reason why people side-eyeing it, because it's like, who play with their kids like this? Or you think I got time to sit up on a show for hours talking like, I'm trying to get to business, babe, because something gonna happen. Something's gotta happen if that happened. You understand what I'm saying? So this is that's what I'm saying. I just couldn't imagine something like that. I couldn't imagine something like that. But I for damn sure wouldn't be on no goddamn social media. I would not be sitting on this platform talking about it. Not like that. Until after, when it's all over, when somebody in jail, or something more sinister done happen. And then either you probably wouldn't see me, or if you do, like I said, either I'm gonna be in jail, either I'm gonna be live and from behind the prisons, because you could, hell, can't you go live from jail now? Shit, can't they? Hell, they be on their phones doing lives, calling the Kendra G show from jail. Baby, I'd be calling the Kendra G show up. Look, ma'am, I just want to get on and let all y'all know I'm all right. Y'all know what had happened, and here I am. I just want to say hello. Behind bars or whatever. But I'm not gonna be sitting here crying. No. So I don't know.
And what I want to say is I haven't uploaded any content since that video, and I have been taking care of myself and my children. That has been my main priority. But what I want people to really take from this, and why I really did this, is to be concerned about the time in between. And when I say the time in between, the abuse happens and someone says something about it and tells the world or tells the family members, how many other children could be at stake in the time in between, even the 6 weeks in between, that I decided to share that story from the time that the abuse occurred. God would not let me move forward until I shared that story, because there's a good chance this man could be around kids. I mean, people were pulling his dating profiles. He was looking for the next whoever. It's the time in between that the children are being hurt, when people don't want to say anything. So I feel like I've had no other choice but to share this testimony, because it's not about me. God is just using me. It's not about me. It's never been about me. It's about everybody. It's about the fact that this is happening at an alarming rate. No one's talking about, I can't say no one's talking about it, but it's just not being pushed the way that it needs to, that children need to be protected more, and that you just have to.
But ma'am, you didn't protect your kids. What the fuck are you? Girl, you didn't really protect your own kids. Where's you crying like you did everything possible to keep your kids from something like this. And we're talking about this happening at an alarming rate. We're talking about you and your kids. From her own admission, she subjected her children to several different men. Any of the men could have touched on your kids if that was the case. You didn't think about that? Being a person who say you've been abused? Like, what? I don't understand. I don't get, I'm like, what? Child, this is the internet, Lord, is filled with all kinds of stuff. I will tell you. I will tell you. Let's continue, y'all.
Really be aware. You can't just be making certain decisions. It's just.
Isis, I'm curious, since you told your story, have any other alleged victims
good
come
question.
forward?
Not that I've seen, no. But honestly, people know to keep their kids away from him, and that's good enough for me. That's good enough
Yeah,
for
the
me.
reason why I'm asking, just so you all know and just so the audience knows, is that usually when we're talking about sexual predators, by the time a sexual predator is caught, they have often had many, many victims prior to.
That's
And
true.
so as we do
Yep.
sexual
That is
social
a fact.
histories, we really get into the cycle of abuse.
That's true.
There usually are decades worth of victims.
Mm-hmm.
So if he was just caught now, I would not be surprised. Was asking the question because I would not be surprised if other victims started to come forth.
I haven't
That is
seen
something
anything.
that's very common in situations like this.
Wow. Wow.
But you know what? Victims are often shamed. And that, I don't know if you all remember even when Cassie came forward about how things Diddy was doing, and
Girl,
people
we're
said,
not
"Oh,
talking
she's a
about no
liar."
damn
It
Cassie
took the
and Diddy.
video
These are
coming
grown
out for
people.
people
You
to
have
say, "Oh,
small
well, maybe he
children.
was abusive. Maybe." People always
My
victim shame.
God, Lord
No
have
one wants to
mercy.
come
Lord,
into.
lady. You said the man started showing signs to you on the day you married him. He was aggressive and controlling and took advantage of you, and you stayed with him and had children. Now, if he would if he was aggressive towards you and controlling in the bedroom and all of this, you say he was gaslighting you, but he stopped. He just automatically stopped when he realized you knew what was going on. This is what she said. He automatically stopped when you knew what was going on. So he stopped. He never did it again. And so you went on and you had children for him. So if the signs were there, you didn't take them seriously, and then you went on and still had children for him. If he's aggressive with you, why would you? You already have 2 kids that you said he took as his own and he loved them. Why would you have more? Knowing what you know and what you felt, and you knew he knew, then he stopped all of a sudden. He didn't do it ever again, and now all of a sudden you have your kids. And now, oh Lord, I hope, bless them, Lord. Pray for them, Lord. Protect them.
Talk about this stuff.
And to that point, I'm glad you made the point, because as soon as that happened, as you said, for years, listen to the trail of abuse that we're hearing in that story over decades.
Right.
That's an excellent example of what we're
Right.
talking about in
Wasn't
alleged
just her.
victims. Because usually sexual abuse and these kinds of behaviors begin in childhood. Individuals test their limits. They don't just become full-blown,
Right.
very aggressive, very cunning, conniving predators.
Right,
They
not overnight.
learn how to be that over time.
That's true.
They begin oftentimes with siblings or with cousins who are close in age, or with their younger siblings,
Ooh.
friends when they have sleepovers. They do that with girlfriends in early adolescence. It is a progression that happens. And so I want everybody to recognize that. It's not just for your story, Isis, but it's for people who are sitting at home thinking, I'm the only person that person tried this with. I'm the only person that was molested in my family. And as you talk about that intergenerational trauma, I hear you say that your mom suffered, that your grandmother suffered. So what we know is that there is a cycle of abuse, there is a cycle of victimhood, there is a cycle of behavior that unfortunately they did not get the help. They were not able to cover each other and ultimately then cover you. And so unfortunately now you and your children hopefully will be those legacy breakers so that your children's children don't suffer a similar fate.
I
So
think that
we're
it's
not dealing
deeper.
with 5 generations.
It's deeper than mental health. This is a spirit. This is a generational curse. This is deeper than therapy. Only God can fix
Wow.
this.
Well, I will have to leave you to your belief system. If that's the case, then I think that those who are sexual abusers will not be able to be helped.
That's
will
not what
not
I'm
be able
saying.
to
I
be
said
healed.
that's
Girl,
not what
she
I'm
stopped
saying. I'm
talking
saying
so right
that
there.
in
Ooh,
addition
child.
to your faith
Oh,
has
okay,
to
in
be a part.
addition to-
That's
Oh, now, ma'am, you stop talking like that. Then look how she woke up. That's not what I'm saying. Like, oh, child, we got you. Child, she said, that's not what I'm Child, you stop crying for a moment there. You like, oh, hell no. Who this that for you say she trying to check me? It's not that. I got to keep the sympathy. Now she going to go back to crying. Oh, I don't know. I think that's not what I'm saying. Girl, Lord, bless her heart though, you know. Oh my God, dang. She was like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, okay, we got you.
I'm an advocate of therapy. I'm in
Oh, we got
therapy.
you.
I mean, I'm a big advocate of therapy. But what I'm saying is,
Oh yeah, we get figure.
for the decisions that my
No,
parents made to be
realize.
chalked up to the fact that they may have not gotten help, I think that it is even deeper than that. I think that it's truly spiritual warfare that is going on, and that's a big part of this.
Well, I'm hoping that for everybody out there, whether you are someone who has been abused, whether you are someone who struggles with feelings or thoughts that you struggle with around attraction to younger individuals, around power and control, around sexual assault, I want you to recognize that there is help available no matter where you sit on the spectrum. If you know that you have struggles that you need help with, there are people who want to help you. Whether you utilize scripture and the word and you seek out Christian therapists who can help you with that, or whether you look for individuals who are Muslim, who are Buddhist, who are Baptist, who are atheist, who are agnostic, wherever you need to get your healing from, I want you to know that there are people out here who can and who want to help you and who will not judge you, but who will help you try to get to a place where you understand yourself and that you can be the best version of yourself.
Thank you so much, Dr. Spirit and Brianna, for that great question. And I want to be clear here. I see this question just happening in the chat very often, and I want to just address it just so you can update the people as well.
Okay.
Because most people are very upset when they hear these kind of crimes, and they're saying like, yo, why is he just not in jail?
That's
Like,
what I
that's the
call
number
and
thing they
ask.
say.
The first few weeks I was calling and asking that, harassing them. Why is he not in jail? He's walking around free. He's a predator. He's a pedophile. He could be around kids. Why have you not arrested them? They said, we're very reluctant to charge these crimes.
Okay.
We have to do an investigation first. It could take months. There's it's going on the back end, so there's a complaint number, but not an official case number that the public can see. But they're investigating it. They've been investigating it from the day that I stepped into that hospital. If people are not familiar with how the system works, that's how it works. These are mandated reporters. As soon as you go to a hospital, police are involved immediately. The investigation started immediately. The detective came to the hospital with Child Protective Services. They have all been involved in this case. So all the steps have been taken. Therapy has been started, all the things. And to clear the record, I know there's a lot of people saying that I'm doing this in retaliation to him filing for divorce. He filed for divorce 3 days after. 3 days after the investigation started, and I left him and took the kids. That was all he could do to try to get the kids back, was file for divorce. To get some type of custody.
So was he filing for divorce to get custody, or just filing for divorce because he didn't, because of the case you allegedly brought against him? And why is there a case number? I don't know how this stuff works, but I mean, is there a case? I know she had provided some type of paperwork showing her, her accusing him of these things, but has he officially been charged? And if he's charged, shouldn't there be a case number? Has he not been charged? What's happening with the case? Scorched Earth? Scorched Earth 824 says, the sad reality is, as men, we have to be extra careful. A lot of us deal with Stockholm syndrome, releasing trauma we had nothing to do with. It just manifested once. They got with us, never was healed. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. And that's a very good point. You know what I'm saying? And once again, that speaks to a lot of trauma that men go through that nobody seems to like to focus on or care about. Women could just always be the most traumatized victims ever, of forever. And nobody ever really thinks about the trauma that men go through, and the things that men go through and young boys go through as well. That's ignored. But when let a woman say something, oh my God, it's looked at and, just given the most attention. But when it comes to young men, nobody have anything to say, So thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you, and the comment. It's just crazy, so what's going on with the case? They haven't proved anything. They got to prove it. I don't know how this works. If something happened to your little child, she said she noticed the child was red or whatever. You take your child. You believe that your child was just assaulted. You take your child to the hospital. They examine that child. They should be able to tell what went on with that kid, right? And then if you are saying, oh, you believe it's such and such, you get the information, you do what's necessary, and then what happens after that? So nothing happens? Like, what happens? Because a lot of people are speculating all kinds of things that happen. I don't know, baby. Listen.
Understood.
No, before Dr. Spirit goes, because I actually had a question for Dr. Spirit. Because
I don't want Dr. Who said Dr. Spirit going?
Oh, okay. No, okay. My bad.
What is it? Yeah, we can let. I want to bring up.
Ryan said he was cutting me loose.
I want to have. We're gonna have one more. We're gonna have one more caller come up before we're gonna end the hotline. Though we're gonna have one more caller come up. But go ahead.
Well, because I'm reading this super chat. Shout out to High Tolerance. Says 2 times girl dad here. Where's the accountability having all these men in her kids' orbit? At least a boy hiding under the bed from his mama with the switch owned up. Mama.
To recognize how common it is. We have to not be scared of the conversation. And the reality is, if you are an individual who has suffered, please recognize that it makes it very difficult for you to stand in the gap when no one stood in the gap for you. So many individuals, unfortunately, become paralyzed with fear, paralyzed with denial. They are revisiting their own trauma when they see signs that children, especially their own children, may be being abused by someone that they love. Too many people turn a blind eye, and it's very easy for us to sit back and judge. But to somebody's point, there was somebody that called in a few minutes ago to talk about how this looks. Many people are still protecting abusers. You know that the cousin or the uncle abused people, and they're still invited to the Christmas parties. They're still invited to the family reunions. Everybody is still laughing and joking, and they know that there is that one person who says, I will not come to the house when so-and-so is there because you all know what he did to me. And most people are so paralyzed, they don't know what to do, and they will turn and isolate the victim and rally around the same person who perpetrated the acts because they don't want to stand up and deal with it in their family. So we have to get better, we have to become more educated, and we have to be willing to have these very hard conversations.
What I do want to ask Dr. Spirit, and I take full accountability for bringing men around my children. In hindsight, I wish I would have just made different decisions to where I'd never put myself in a situation to even have to, I do wish I would have made better decisions. But being a young mom, I mean, I made mistakes. And I take accountability for that.
Is that it started even before that in your storyline. It wasn't about, if it would have been as simple enough as protecting my children from some men, then that would have been something that you would have done 100% of the time because you love your children. This is why it is so important for us to learn how our traumas are showing up in our adult lives, because the things that we were exposed to in our childhoods, the ways that we were loved and not loved properly, lead us to make decisions based upon trauma and familiarity of trauma. And so what I just encourage everybody to do is learn from a cautionary tale. Whether you think that you can relate to Isis's story or not, we all have trauma. We all have wounds. We all have things that are causing us to show up in our lives in a place where we are not fully functional. And so let this be a cautionary tale that says, how can I heal myself so that I don't have blind spots that will not only hurt me, but hurt people that I love.
Right.
That is the real takeaway here. Because until we heal, we
Right.
are literally passing on a legacy
Of trauma.
that creates more trauma,
Right.
no matter what that looks like, sexual
Exactly.
or otherwise.
Exactly.
That's the real takeaway.
Aware that
Let's.
you need to tell the truth
Whew,
because I
child.
glorified this man in public.
Girl.
I made it seem like it was a fairy tale, and in a way it was. It seemed like it was, but it wasn't. It wasn't.
And Dr. Spirit, just to give you an idea, because I know you
Baby,
really,
okay, I heard
you
enough.
real
Let's-
All I
Your
answered
part.
to.
And now, perhaps, the time has come. If you have truly done your part, then
She
go
said.
and heal and allow yourself to focus on you and your children now, and to come up with a plan for what
Focus
you
on
do
your kids, ma'am.
before this man and now after
After.
this man.
Right.
Because he will be a part of you all's story for a lifetime. I would also say to anyone else who is out there, if you have found yourself triggered tonight, if you recognize that ISIS is telling your story, if you recognize that your story has yet to be told, get into somebody's chair. Let healing be possible for you. If you recognize that you are a person who at any point in your past or in your present has struggled with sexual feelings that you don't feel like are in your control, that don't feel the healthiest for you, whether it is around attraction to children, whether it is around power and control or feelings of inadequacy or insecurity that cause you to show up in sexual ways that you are not proud of.
Get some help.
Recognize that healing is possible, and
Yes.
recognize that there are places that can help you understand you without judgment, and help you get to a place where you feel more whole and satisfied and secure.
When I saw the victims in my comments that said my mom never believed me, even if it was just one comment, but it was so many, I knew I did the right thing. I knew putting the video out was the right thing. God has shown me over and over that this has been the right thing. And for everybody who wants to say, I need to take a break, please write me a check for me to take a break from taking care of my children. Please do. That's what I have to say about that. Okay? So I'm going to continue to show up. I'm going to continue to speak my truth. I'm going to continue to be
hell
obedient
no.
because obedience is better than sacrifice.
Girl,
And
the
I'm going to continue
audacity.
to do what I'm called to do, regardless of how anybody feels about it. Because God is using me, and I'm just here to do what He tells me to do.
What is
I'm
so-
going to continue to do so.
Okay,
it
ma'am.
you, right?
What? I mean, God telling you to do stuff now. He ain't tell you all them other years. Did you just find him yesterday, child? What the hell? The audacity once again, Lord. The audacity, Lord. Write you a check. So you want to go out here and continue to smear this man's name without any real proof, and you want people to just to believe it and support you and send you a check for what? I mean, the message that she was putting out before all of this came out is irrelevant now. You can't continue to try to tell people how to become a trophy wife, because that was her message, telling women how to become a trophy wife and what you need to do for a man, when you obviously by your own account picked the wrong guy. You did not vet the guy properly. According to you, the guy is a predator, and this is who you picked, and you're out here, you think you should still go out and tell women how to pick a man and get a high value man or become a trophy wife with a man who allegedly did this to his own children? The narrative is off now. You can't continue to push that. So now you want to be a coach to women to try to tell them to look out for the signs when you yourself saw signs and you did not act upon them until it was too late, according to you. How is that supposed to work? Or do these people think folks are just stupid? I say people like this, you think the viewing public is just dumb. You think these people are just dummies. They don't see what's going on here? And then they go on to promote her own, I mean, Lord, I'm about to say OnlyFans. Lord, not OnlyFans. Your Cash App and your GoFundMe for what? It's not anybody else's responsibility to take care of you and your kids that you chose to have with a man that you say you saw the signs and he's a alleged predator. So now you made the mistake. Now random people are supposed to go and that's the part I don't understand. That's what gets me. This is why I say this is fishy. This is fishy. Well, write you a check. It ain't nobody's responsibility to take care of you and your damn kids. That's where you're supposed to be an adult and vet the person that you're getting involved with to make sure that they're the right person for you and potential children. If you're getting child support for him, if he ain't paying, ain't nobody else's fault. And if you could work then and you work for the family, you was always making your own money, you got all these entrepreneurial people in the family, okay, what about you? Can't you afford to take care of your kids that you created? Child, the audacity, baby, go get a job. I don't understand this. So essentially, I done messed up. I done picked the wrong one. Now I got all these kids. Now, and I was telling people, using that to tell people how to get a trophy, to get a high value man to become a trophy wife and get a man to take care of you. And now this man ain't taking care of you. Now what you want to tell him now? You got to switch up your story? Like, this is where social media becomes weird. I'm just saying, this is baby. I don't mean to laugh because my whole thought was about the kids. I'm thinking, this is tragic for those children. Not her, the children. These children are young. These kids are impressionable. That's horrible. I couldn't imagine something like that. But hopefully they can get it together. Hopefully the children are okay, Lord. Protect those kids, Lord. It's a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? But this is crazy. This is crazy. So, and this is why it's hard for people to believe that this is not about a check and it's not about a money. Because for you to say that, she was saying it was hard and they're struggling to pay their bills because he wouldn't even send the money on time. She didn't say he didn't send it at all. She said he didn't send it on time. And she only made $100 a month on her YouTube. So it's like, so I need y'all fools to come and give me y'all money so I can take care of me and my 5 kids. I didn't know she had 5. I thought she only had 4. But she has 5 kids. And so come on and finish helping me. I was talking about the become a trophy. Now I'm no longer a trophy wife. So now I got to switch it up. Let me tell you how not to be a trophy. I don't know, child. It's just crazy. It's crazy as hell. Scorched Earth says, 824 says, how many men are in jail in the grave based off of a woman claiming we did something to them only to find out it didn't happen? Using children is worse. It is. And there are a lot of men who are in jail and in the grave for things they didn't do off of somebody lying. And I think that's horrible. I think that is horrible. You know what I'm saying? I think that and this is why I speak out against that, because, you put these systems in place that's supposed to help everybody and benefit everybody, not just women. When you have a situation where women could just come forward and lie and make this up and it's automatically believed, that's doing harm to the other person when it's a lie. So it's not equal. It's not fair. And I think it has to change. I don't think we should. I think you're supposed to get the evidence. And I don't care if you're a woman or a man or whoever, if you're claiming somebody did something, you need to prove it. You need to have the evidence. It needs to make sense. You just shouldn't you make it up and let's just believe you, lock this person up or whatever. And even though there's no proof to show that this person did what you say that they did. Everybody is not out here a predator. Everybody is not out here trying to harm you and all of this. And so when you're lying on somebody, I really think that the consequences should be severe. If you're lying and it's proven that you lied on this person, you need to do the time that you would have gave that person if they had did it. Simple as that. And then people will think twice about making shit up. I'm sorry, y'all. It's just crazy. But thank you for the super chat, Scorch Earth. It's crazy. Classic Perspectives says, do you see, DeeDee, these women feel that everyone that's a stranger that had no involvement should always help or dish out money to them? Yeah, it's just ridiculous. This is why I said it's this whole idea of men taking care of you and giving you money up on meeting you or it's stupid. This whole modern dating scene, the way women are thinking is ridiculous. And then the idea that they're going on, you need a man who can provide for you 100% of the time. That's the main focus. And then when you have women like this who come out and say, oh, I have a man. He took me and my 2 kids and he just took care of us and he did all the things. And then something like this allegedly comes up. And now what? Now women are looking like, okay, now what? Oh, should we trust a man with money? Your motives are all off. They're all wrong. It's just stupid. It really is. Thank you, Classic Perspective, for the super chat. I appreciate you. It's just dumb, y'all. It doesn't make any kind of sense whatsoever. But this is modern dating. This is the modern world. This is what it is. You know, this is how it goes, I guess. This is the incentive for women to get out here and you know, say whatever they want. And like I said, once again, I don't know the full story. You know, I gotta say this. I don't know what's real until all of the information comes out, you know, but I'm always thinking about the kids because the children don't make the decisions, okay? They're the innocent victims in all of this. They don't make the decisions. They don't choose who they get to be around. They don't choose their mothers and their fathers. They don't choose their parents. They don't choose any of this. So the children are the real victims, and this is why they have to be protected. This is why you as a parent, before you think about having children, you're supposed to do everything in your power to try to protect your kids. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, I'm not trying to like condemn anybody or put anything body down or test people's parenting skills, but I knew I did not want my children subjected to that kind of shit. This is why they were homeschooled. And that's just me. Homeschooled, you know. This is why I was a stay-at-home mom, because as much as, in some moments, I wanted to go back to work or whatever. No, I was more concerned about my children and the well-being and protecting them, because I did not want something like that happening to them. And you can't trust nobody. I'm just saying, you can't trust. I'm saying nobody. You don't know who you don't know what's going on. So if you know you love your kids and you not going to do anything to harm your kids, you're the only person that you could trust. That's how I see it. And that's how I see it. I'm sorry. I didn't trust nobody. So if that meant I had to be at home with my kids 24/7, that's what it was. I'm at home with them. And even, when they had to go somewhere, look, I'm very cautious, certain things that they had to do certain testing, we would make sure we at the place, watching who they around. Like, it's just, it's a task, but it's for the benefit of your children. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want your children going through that type of stuff. And that's one thing me and my husband were adamant about. I don't care. I don't trust nobody. And most of our kids are grown now, and they haven't had that. They can't say, "Oh, I was touched or I was molested." They don't have that. They don't have that experience, because nobody wants to go through that. So if you like I said, if you true, I'm just saying, there's you look, do what you got to do, baby. You may not be, the people, if your kids got to go to school or whatever, you can't be with them all the time, but especially when they're little, when they're small. See, as your kids get older now, when they get older, they know how to defend themselves and stuff. And they can watch out for this and they know how to talk. But when your kids are most vulnerable, when they're little, when they're toddlers, when they're babies, oh, hell no. I just no. And I thank God that at least I was in a position to be able to be at home with my kids as little and watch them, because I didn't trust people, not with no babies, because I know there's some crazy freaks out there. I'm just saying, that's how I felt about that. C. Urban says, I'm getting Amber Heard vibes from her. Can't lie. Child, Amber Heard was a hot damn mess. She sat up there and lied. The whole thing was a lie. That man hadn't defended himself. She would be looked at and praised as the, oh my God, and run around like she was the victim. And she was a straight villain. So yeah. Thank you, C. Irvin. I appreciate you, brother. So it's just a hot mess, So, it is what it is, y'all. Anyway, all right, I gotta get out of here, y'all. Thank y'all so much for being here. This was a hot mess. This was a lot. I really would love to see how this turns out. What comes of this? If her allegations are true or false or whatever it is, I definitely want to know how this pans out, because this is crazy. I just said this story just seems weird to me, and that's all I'm gonna say on that. But much love and blessings to those kids, and I hope that those kids are okay and they're thriving and they're fine. That's all I can say, because I really worry about the children in all of this. Because once again, the children are innocent. The adults make these decisions, and the children are the ones that suffer. So hopefully everything is okay with them. Shout out to everybody who supports the channel via Super Chat or Cash App, y'all. Shout out to everybody watching, everybody who chimed in on this. I appreciate you guys for watching, for being here. Make sure you are supporting by watching the videos already. It was a lot, Daniel. It was a lot. It was a lot. That's why I like to cover these stories, is because this stuff, baby, I be about to go off, because I'm just like, I don't like stuff like this, especially when it's dealing with children, innocent children. It gets to me. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully, child, whatever. But shout out to everybody watching, everybody in the building. I appreciate you guys. Alex, shout out to everybody. Y'all, thank y'all so much for your support. Continue to watch the videos, y'all. Make sure you go over and watch the latest videos posted on the channel. Share and like them if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell to be notified when I post new content, you guys. Shout out to Rainbow Kid. That's Queen of Vibes. I see you in the building. D-Mac, Melita. I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you so much for being here. Miguel, Alex, Jay Tillman. Thank y'all so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. See Irving, I see you. Also, Trey. I saw Trey in the building. Trey Ferg in the building. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys so much. Who else? What's his name? I saw in here as well with his comments. I wanted to respond to him because somebody did allege that, her autistic son had something to do with that. I don't want to. What's up, David M? CC Speaks. What's going on? Kind Inquirer. Thank you so much for being here. Listen, I heard that too. Once again, Coach Ferg, what's going on? Yeah, I saw y'all mention that, they mentioned that her son had some involvement in this. Listen, let's see what happens. Let's see what comes of all of this, because I remember his niece, her husband's niece, definitely spoke out and said that she has issues herself. And, so I don't know. I guess only time will tell how this all plays out, y'all. But I guess we'll see. So I just wanted to get my 2 cents on this whole interview. I thought, I think the therapist kind of peeped some stuff. I think she peeped some things and she kind of addressed it. And then that's when that lady was like, oh, nah. She kind of like, she spoke up then. She spoke up at that point. So yeah, it is what it is, y'all. So thank y'all once again for being here. I appreciate you guys. Y'all stay tuned for more to come. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Continue to support the channel, you guys. And I will see y'all really, really soon. So hit that notification bell to be notified when I go live or post new content. So I will be live really soon. I'm not going to say exactly. Hopefully I'm back soon, but make sure y'all have that bell clicked on so you'll be notified when I do a live. So that is it. Thank y'all once again for being here. I appreciate you guys. Y'all be safe and I'll see you soon. Bye.